Lidl, there's always more to value. Like switching from Sainsbury's to Lidl and saving £32 on this week's Big Shop at lidl.co.uk/save more. Which means a stocked up fridge of big brands, award-winning own brands, and your fresh 5 a day with extra helpings encouraged. Lidl, more to value. Prices checked 2nd of the 2nd, 26. Sainsbury's also sell other products. See online for more details.
Because you bought your robot vacuum on your Barclaycard, you got 0% interest for up to 24 months, which makes watching it, hypnotically sweeping up your crumbs, even more satisfying. Oh, Mr. Bit. What you buy is your business. Helping you pay less interest is ours. Barclaycard. Make money work for you. Subject to financial status. New customers only. Representative example, 24.9% APR representative variable, 24.9% purchase rate per annum based on £1,200 credit limit. T's and C's apply.
Are you one of the 1.5 million UK customers that have used MedExpress for your healthcare journey? If not, accessing treatments for sexual health is now easier than ever. You don't need to visit your GP or pharmacy. Just complete a short online consultation to find the right treatment for you. We'll send your treatment directly to your door, delivered to you in discreet packaging with ongoing support from our experienced UK-based medical team. Take the first step towards managing your health concerns with confidence. Visit medexpress.co.uk/podcast to learn more.
You know that feeling when your money is working for you? No? Well, make it! Open an investment account at XTB, make your first deposit and receive a free Rolls-Royce stock.
Rolls-Royce?
That's right. Own one of the best performing UK stocks this year for free. And if you like it, you can easily buy more stocks and ETFs with 0% commission. Join XTB and let your money work for you.
Your capital is at risk. Investments above €100,000 are charged at 0.2% commission. FX fees may apply. Limited availability. T's and C's apply.
You can't do much in under 5 minutes. Boil an egg? Sure. Cook a roast dinner? No chance. But comparing car insurance prices with mustard.co.uk? Easy. See what you could save in just a few minutes. Click mustard.co.uk. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on Scottish Cup weekend. Although the weather is causing havoc, nothing says the romance of the Cup like widespread postponements and only 3pm kickoffs on this Saturday. Still some games to get through, and of course Celtic against Dundee later, while tomorrow Rangers are out to avoid a repeat of a shock at home to Queen's Park, and the transfer window might be shut, but Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's arrival at Celtic looks imminent. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me this afternoon, Gordon DL, Roger Hannah and Hugh Keevins.
Celtic Dundee, obviously the standout Scottish Cup tie of the day, but it's a cup tie that comes with a subplot, and the subplot is this: Celtic's interim chairman Brian Wilson has called for unity. Some Celtic supporters have called for mutiny and are asking for a boycott of the game at Celtic Park, which kicks off at 5:30. What effect is all of this having on Martin O'Neill as he tries to sign Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who is currently having his medical in Glasgow? And what does Elgin have in common today with the Partick Thistle manager Mark Wilson?
I think that was his last game for Brecon.
Correct. And that's when the tracksuit top went into the charity shop.
Correct. I'll never forget that day.
I've got a good story about that.
Have you?
In a few minutes' time. But let's get the show up and running and give us your big intro first.
As Hugh said, their Scottish Cup weekend, love it. I really do. You always look for an upset. Obviously the weather's taking part in postponing a lot of good games, especially one at Pittodrie. I thought Aberdeen Motherwell would have been a cracker, Gordon, but we'll still get football, and well done to St Mirren, first team through. I thought Airdrie were very unlucky, and someone will need to tell me why that was never a penalty for Airdrie last night, but it was all about St Mirren. They're in the hat. Who's going to join them?
And it could be a cup double in Paisley. There was one in Perth the other year. That's just to say Stephen Robinson and St Mirren couldn't add the Scottish Cup to the Premier Sports Cup. As you says, though, the big game, Celtic Park, will go over to Gabriel 4:15. It'll be more interesting to see who's in the seats in the stand rather than who's in the seats on the bench and in the Celtic team.
Whatever the attendance is, could they add one on for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Yeah, I think they will. I think Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain will be a Celtic player, possibly even by the close of play today.
I mean, he won't buy his ticket, but will he be a +1 on the attendance record, whatever it may be?
Very possibly. And listen, it's a fascinating signing, as all of Celtic's signings have been in the winter window and beyond.
Bit awkward, Roger, if you try to introduce him to the crowd and the crowd aren't there.
Well, that's very true.
01419511025 is the number for later, so jot it down. We might even open the phone lines a bit earlier today in light of a lacking Scottish Cup card. We do love the Scottish Cup, we love the romance of it, but there are only 2-3 o'clock games this Saturday, so that's not ideal. But if one thing I know for sure, having worked on this show for many years, Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah and Gordon DL have got more than enough nonsense to entertain you with between now and 6 o'clock. And of course, it's not all about the games today. Anyway, we do have that big potential signing of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, which has been a great one this week because the debate is so obvious. It's so clear to see. On one side, you've got a guy that's got all of those credentials and England caps and English Premier League appearances, and on the other hand, a guy that's been a free agent, hasn't played since May, has injury problems, etc. So loads to get through there.
I offer you the slogan for 3 o'clock when the lines open. Celtic fans, unity or mutiny? Which side are you on?
It's an interesting one, Roger, because I wonder what the crowd would have been anyway.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you should be asked to fill out a form if you're a Celtic fan. Have you stayed away because it's not in your season ticket, it's an expensive time of year, it's freezing cold, etc., etc., or have you stayed away because you're dissatisfied at the running of the club?
Listen, it's a very good debate, and it's one that's been played out a lot. You'll have seen it yourself, Gordon, on social media this week. You know, the Celtic Fans Collective appealing for the boycott today. Some fans coming back saying, but we don't want to boycott. You know, yes, we are reasonably upset, frustrated, annoyed, disappointed at the actions of the board during the January transfer window. We feel, yes, they have let Martin O'Neill down, but we still want to go and support the team. So it'll be fascinating to see in which numbers they turn up to support the team.
Roger, I posed the question though. What effect is this having on Martin O'Neill?
Yeah.
He's having he takes over from a man who has cost Celtic 12 league points and possibly booby-trapped the whole league title race for them. And now he has a support who, in some part, and I stress some part, are threatening mutiny.
And I've found the positive, Gordon, amongst it all. If you want to put a real shine on it, it means the games that are postponed, at least you're in the draw. You're in the draw tomorrow night. You'll know what you get if you can get through your tie whenever it's rearranged.
Yeah, exactly. But look, it is all about getting through. You've seen that last night with St Mirren. Doesn't matter how the picture looked, they got there, they're in the hat. You're right, Gordon. Before some of these games are played, you'll know who you're going to face, which I think is always a good incentive as well. But there's plenty of football over the weekend to keep us going.
Okay, let's go through what games we do have. Only 2 of them in the Scottish Cup this afternoon at 3 o'clock, and it's only fair we start furthest away by a mile. Elgin City against Partick Thistle. Alison McConnell's made the journey.
I have indeed, and I'm delighted to be at Boroughbriggs. It ticks one off the list for me. A long career in Scottish football rating, and I've never been at Boroughbriggs before, so ticks one off. And hopefully it's a happier trek here for Mark Wilson. The last time he was here, his team got changed in a barn. That was back when he was Brecon City manager, as you referenced there at the top of the show in 2020, and COVID restrictions had him in with the lawnmowers as he gave his team talk. It ended in defeat that day and almost the end of his coaching career as he parted company with them 48 hours later. He'll be hoping that Elgin don't cut his grass today. He's moved on considerably in his managerial career. And reports say today that all mod cons have been available in the dressing room this afternoon. Certainly it is all about getting through to the quarter-finals of the Scottish Cup today and avoiding any kind of upset against an Elgin side currently sitting in 8th position in League 2. Thistle have given this one the respect it deserves. He travelled up to stay over last night to avoid any lethargy after a long journey, and they'll be keen to make this as straightforward as possible. It's fair to say, I think that promotion to the top flight, that remains a priority, but certainly a Scottish Cup quarter-final and the potential revenue that might bring in isn't to be sniffed at. The staff here have assured me that Elgin is a microclimate, which is why it has avoided the worst of the elements that have battered the East Coast across the last couple of weeks, and they've played havoc with today's fixtures, as we've heard. This one survives. The pitch looks as well as you could expect given the time of year, and for anyone wondering, it is a grass surface, it's not plastic. Thistle are expected to bring up a really good support with them as they negotiated the long journey up north, so Elgin manager Alan Hale will be hoping to keep them quiet for as long as possible and just make this one as awkward as possible for Partick Thistle. So I've just been handed the teams a few minutes ago. I'll run through them with you just now. Elgin line-up, it looks as though it will be a back four, 4-1-3-2 system with Tom Ritchie in goal, and then a back four of Miko Vertanen, Kyle Girvin, Dylan Ross and Jack Murray. Jack McIver just sitting in front, and then Mark Gallagher, Russell Dingwall and Lewis Hyde in the middle, with Kane Hester and Ryan Sargent up front. On the bench, Taylor, Booth, Cameron, Cairns, Ewan, Spalding, Walker and McAddo. And for Partick Thistle, a couple of changes just since that last game up at McDermott Park last Friday night. There's 2 changes for them as Aidan Fitzpatrick and Fraser Taylor come in, so they go with a 4-3-3. Josh Clark in goal, a back four of Lee Ashcroft, Patrick Redding, Dan O'Reilly and Ben McPherson, Fraser Taylor, Robbie Crawford and Ben Stanaway in the middle, and then Aidan Fitzpatrick, Alex Samuel and Tony Watt up front. And the subs on the bench, we've got Budenikis, Story, Logan, Martin, Turner, Diak, Macbeth, Gray and Let's Sosa. And the referee for this afternoon is Colin Stephen.
Looking forward to that one. Gordon, how many times on this show have we spoken over and over again? We've ridiculed him, we've poked fun at him, we've taken the mickey out of Mark Wilson for that fateful day that Alison McConnell mentioned. He goes to Elgin as the Brecon manager, they get changed in a barn, they lose, he gets the sack, and his Brecon tracksuit ends up in the charity shop. He then has to survive us ridiculing him for years. We brought it up almost weekly. Is it impossible to believe that a certain journalist opened the press conference yesterday by asking Mark Wilson if he'd ever been to Elgin?
No,
I would hate to be that guy. Honestly, David Friel.
What'd you do?
It was an honest mistake, Gordon. It was all very jovial. I said, "How you doing, Mark? I've not seen you for a while." And then we'd actually been speaking to Ben McPherson before, and he was saying, "I've never been to Elgin." So I just opening gambit was, "Mark, have you ever been to Elgin?" And he looked at me, there was a bit of silence, and then he said, "Are you taking the..." and I won't say what he said. So yeah, he got over it, but he did have a little slight dig later on as well. I think he thought I was trying to take the mickey.
Are you taking the... How many times have I told that story on the radio? But there we go. Look at him now. Look at him now.
There'll be a big shock at Elgin today, let me tell you. 100%.
Do you think
he'll leave as still the Thistle manager?
Do you think if Thistle score a goal, will his celebration be better than it was at Perth last Friday night?
Pathetic lack of emotion from him.
I like it. I like his style.
Alison McConnell said
celebration.
Alison McConnell said that she ticked one off her list today by being at Boroughbriggs. It's on my list. It's on my list of "you'll never get me there."
No, I've been. That was ticked off. You remember when Rangers were down the divisions? I went a few times.
Is that the one with you and Duff?
That's the one that Jim Duffy and I went together for Clyde One Super Scoreboard, and space was at such a premium I had to sit directly behind Jim Duffy and discuss Rangers formation with the back of his head because there was no other space.
But listen, you know the kind of weather we're going through here. Alison is describing Elgin's microclimate. Roger, last night on Super Scoreboard we were discussing which ground is higher above sea level. St Mirren, who were at Airdrie, was it Airdrie or was it Cumbernauld?
There's only 3 metres in it apparently, so it's very, very, very close.
By the way, we've got a few desperados on the show today, haven't we? You look at Friel. What a game he's picked.
We've not got to him yet, don't worry.
What? He was going to Tannadice.
Before we get to him,
I tell you what, he'll do in for a coin, won't he?
We just brought him in because of his misdemeanour in the Partick Thistle press conference. But Alison so brilliantly summed up everything that's at stake there. We always look for a shock on Cup day. Mark's our pal. Any shock to be had there?
I think it'll be difficult, Gordon. I really do. I like the fact that we went up last night preparing for it. I think Thistle are in too good a form I really do. I think they've got some decent players. Mark's got them ticking along there quite well, sitting second, just tucked in behind St Johnstone. I think it'll be difficult. I don't think it'll be a high scoring game, but I think Mark will get through that one.
You want to be in the hat tomorrow, as you said. I mean, Thistle have already had Celtic at Firhill in the Premier Sports Cup. They wouldn't mind another financial tickle.
Any scope for a shock there? No, anyone? No one?
3-0 Thistle.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go to the other 3 o'clock game in the Cup. It's a Fife derby between Dunfermline and Kelty. Fraser Wishart is there.
It is Fife derby, and you're talking about microclimates. Alison mentioned it there. You know, in this part of the world, St Johnstone games off, Dundee have had games off, Dundee United, Aberdeen, all up this coast, but everything's looking okay. Pitch is looking fine. A wee bit of fog, so that can just go away, please. I don't want to be foggy and the game getting postponed and can all the way up here, but it's a great opportunity for Dunfermline, you have to say, to add to their brilliant victory against Hibs in the last round and be in the quarter-final draw tomorrow, dreaming of Hampden Park, maybe in the semi-finals. Really good performance against Hibs and a deserved win, but that would all go to waste if they were to leave today losing to Celtic Hearts, who bottom of League One, in a real fight to keep that status, and a team decimated by injuries as well. But Neil Lennon's been given the support with the board, the time to build a team. It's full of good young talent. Young Andrew Todd is on the bench today, but he's watched by a number of teams. He had that to Jeremiah Chilakoa Mullen as well, Scotland under 21 international, Robbie Fraser, and you look at the team in the squad and the subs, got a strong look about it. But Celtic Hearts, of course, recently taken over by an American consortium, bizarrely led by a man called Jordan Gardner, so now part of a multi-club setup. Gardner is shares in Swansea and Dundalk and other European clubs, so it'll be interesting to see what happens now, especially they're really a community club, and but a clear victory today would really bring in good revenue and kickstart their battle to avoid relegation. A small sideshow to this, of course, Kelty assistant manager Michael Tidser's been around the game a long time, fine player. He was Neil Lennon's predecessor. He lasted only 2 months. He left Celtic, joined Dunfermline, he's now back, and I think he would love to have a win today. So a big prize for the winners, but it would take a huge shock, and be a huge shock if Dunfermline's name isn't in the draw at the end of today. They go with a 3-4-3 formation. They've made 3 changes. Out go goalkeeper Dennis Mehmet, and Andrew Todd and Chris Hamilton, and in come Tyrrell. Graham Carey, experienced player, his first start since he joined on loan, and Almadi Alphonse as well. So they go 3-4-3, Billy Tyrrell in goals, Jeremiah Chilakoa Mullen, Nuruddin Abdullahi and Kieran Nguegwa. At the back, Matthew Todd, Graham Carey, Charlie Gilmot and Robbie Fraser across the midfield, with Alphonse Almadi, Zach Ruggin and Callum Morrison as the forward line. The subs are Dennis Mehmet, Kyle Benedictus, Chris Hamilton, Shea Kearney, Ollie Thomas, Chris Kane, Andrew Todd, Josh Cooper and Freddie Turley. For Celtic Hearts, I was saying earlier, they've been decimated by suspensions, by injuries, by players that are ineligible, so they've really got most of their under-19 squad in the team today. Kyle Gourley's in goals, Murray Thomas, Jack Wiley, Jack Bryden and Brodie Patterson across the back. A 5-man midfield of Alex Ferguson, Aaron Pettifer, Aaron Arnott, James Graham and Luke McCarville, with Lewis Moore up front on his own. He'll have a lonely day. I think the subs are Ryan Adamson, Clark Bexfield, Adam Winiarski, Cameron Cooper, Archie Margetts, Jay Snoddy and Grant Leach, and the referee today is Lloyd Wilson. He's on his own because there's no VAR.
Now, I'm not saying that we had to rummage around for extra games to contribute to today's show in light of the Scottish Cup postponements, but it might be the first time we've ever had a League 2 game on here on a Saturday afternoon, so you can draw your own conclusions, but they are a team on our patch. We are committed to the art of local radio. East Kilbride in League 2 away at Edinburgh City, and David Friel is just such a student of the game. He called me this morning, he said, no, Tannadice is off, I need to go to another game, send me anywhere.
Yeah, for a payment. That's it, simple. Let's cut the chase here. It's nothing to do with Edinburgh City. He would have went anywhere. He'd have been sitting at Pollock this afternoon with his radio, as long as he's getting a wager.
Anyway, take it away, David, after that lovely intro.
I am here for the love of the game, and I won't hear anything else about it. Yeah, League 2 game, 2 teams chasing very different aims. That's a crucial period of the campaign. East Kilbride obviously in title contention. They actually have the chance to cut the gap at the top to 3 points. Spartans out of action, as you say, Gordon, after that game at Dundee United, and the Scottish Cup was called off. For Edinburgh City, it's completely different. It's all about survival in the SPFL as they continue to seek to defy the odds after being hit with a 15-point deduction for this campaign. But for that penalty, if you look at the table, Michael McIndoe's side would actually be sitting 4th. So although this looks like top v bottom, I would ignore that, because this could be a very, very even game. They played each other twice this season, both have finished in a draw. East Kilbride obviously were hammered 6-0 by Spartans a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago, sorry, but they bounced back by beating Forfar last weekend. Mick Kennedy's a strong side. He's added Kerr Robertson from Morton this week. He will start, and he knows 3 points is a must today as they look to put pressure on Spartans at the top. But likewise, Edinburgh City come into the game, decent form. They won at Dumbarton last weekend. I think they will feel they have the players to cause East Kilbride problems. Both teams score a lot of goals. They also concede a fair amount, so I'm going to go straight away. I'm not expecting a goalless draw here. I think there'll be a lot of goals at the Meadowbank Stadium. I'll just run through the teams for you. Edinburgh City going to line up Mark Weir in goals, back four Greg Allen, Chris McQueen, Jamie Walker and James Lyon. Midfielder Malik Zaid, Cole Williams, Dylan Williams, Innes Lawson, with Uzi C and Ollie McDonald up front. Subs for Edinburgh City, Marinovic, Mitchell, Brodie, Guthrie and Devine. As for East Kilbride, Craig Hepburn in goals, Sean Fagan, Sam Young, Jamie Hamilton, Andrew Kyle, Jack Leach, Joe Baldy, John Robertson, Kerr Robertson, Bobby McCluckey and Cammy Elliott. Subs for East Kilbride are Morrison, Connor Young, Dobie, McGregor, Breen and Spence. The referee's Cameron Stilling, and can I just say, Gordon, it's an honour to be here at the Meadowbank Stadium, because everybody will know it's the scene of that historic sporting occasion in Scotland when Gordon DL allegedly raced Olympic sprint champion Alan Wells way in the distant past. I've been looking about, I've not seen any photos or plaques or anything like that to commemorate that event, but I will keep looking and I'll keep you posted if I do find one.
It's incredible to think that that's not even in your top 10 lies on the show either.
No, very surprised. By the way, I played there many times. I had a great goal scoring record.
So did you not race Alan Wells?
Yeah, I got 10 years of start, to be fair. I've been 8.
Honestly,
that's
you
when
never
he
know.
was.
No, you never know.
You never truly know.
Listen,
no, if you have a habitual liar in the programme, then you're in trouble.
I think that's a little bit unfair. But
what's unfair about it?
Because in my heyday, I was
because he doesn't know what habitual means.
I didn't have a lot of ability, but I had a lot of speed.
Anyway, we'll leave it there. Those are our 3 featured matches. Blame the weather, but still, I'm sure we'll have some interesting storylines. We'll get to Celtic Dundee a bit later on. I said we'll open the phone lines early at some stage, but as always, we'll take a look back on some of the week's biggest talking points when we return.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.
Welcome to Max Millions, the casino with winnings that are in a completely different universe. Max Millions. Make a splash and win up to 500 free spins playing Storm to Riches, plus dazzling daily jackpots on fluffy favourites and Big Bass Splash. Take your seat at maxmillions.com. New players only, £10 minimum deposit, terms apply, 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Please play responsibly.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls?
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history?
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
With Avanti West Coast, you don't just travel, you glide. Nothing but pure relaxation. Just you and the view. Rolling hills, some sheep, and oh, look at that. You've just arrived in the heart of your destination. Make your way there with no worries and in no time. Easy. This is how travel should feel. Avanti West Coast. Feel good travel. Exclusions and limitations apply.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah and Gordon DL are in the studio. We've got the top team round some of the grounds because the weather has had its part in today's card, but 2 3 o'clock games in the Scottish Cup. We're even showcasing a League 2 game possibly for the first time and building up to Celtic Park kick-off as well. Now at this stage on a Saturday though, once we've given you the team news, we tend to look at some of the big talking points, and there are loads this week. Would you, Roger Hannah, expect Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to be a Celtic player by the time we go away at 6 o'clock tonight?
Yes. I would think so. I don't really see anything else that would get in the way of it. There's always little hitches with medical examinations and the like, but it has been training at Arsenal unless something untoward comes up, and there's no hint of that so far, Gordon. I would think he would be a Celtic player by close of business.
David Friel, you spend most of your time when you're not begging to be sent to Edinburgh City against East Kilbride covering this sort of thing. Did this move surprise you? It wasn't really on the radar throughout until maybe the later stages of deadline day.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, it did surprise me at the time when it came up, as you say, Gordon, the final hours of deadline day, and it was almost like a side note that night, obviously with all the Arne Engels stuff and Celtic trying to get bodies in. It did surprise me because I'd almost lost track of what Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was up to. Obviously I knew he was in Turkey. I'd say it's a sort of kind of low risk move by Celtic. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. What is it, 4 months? 4 months, okay, the wages will be, I'm assuming, quite decent, but if he comes in and makes an impact, it'll be a good signing. They're not about to hand him a 3.5 year deal. It'll be very much short term. I think there might be an option either way beyond that, but look, if he's got anything near the ability and the quality he had in his prime, which wasn't that long ago really, he's still only 32, I think he could end up being a good signing. But I think Martin O'Neill's been quite cute and obviously playing down immediate expectations on him, because he's going to take some time to get up to speed, but I don't really see the risk in it, and if I was Celtic I would try and get it done.
Yeah, Martin does that. You know, when tell me his name. Charanchara came in. The first thing that Martin O'Neill did was play down the significance of that move, but he has looked very good. Orojo at the back has looked very good as well. So Martin has to hope that those who have come in can reach the heights that those players have in a very short space of time. But Oxlade-Chamberlain, after the rest of the transfer window was uninspiring from a Celtic supporter's point of view, Oxlade-Chamberlain upped the interest level. It remains to be seen whether 9 months out of the game have made the chances of him hitting the ground running less than you might think. That's the gamble for Celtic.
If Celtic were that keen on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Hugh, why was he not signed in the 1st of January? Because
yeah, exactly.
People know he's been without a club. People know he's been training at Arsenal. People know he's been looking for a contract. You're saying he might not hit the ground running on the 7th of February.
Yeah,
he'd have been ready on the 7th of February if Celtic had signed him on the 1st of January.
Well, you're back to what happened with Iheanacho. Transfer window closes, not been good enough, and Celtic scramble and find Iheanacho. Unfortunately, he begins by looking a good acquisition, and then his body lets him down.
If Celtic had done their business, I don't think they'd be looking at this player just now. Right, correct. Okay. But they didn't do their business
well. I think it's more of like a bonus one though, because we said this last night, that I think that accusation clearly can be levelled at Iheanacho. You can't get a striker, so you get one. But Celtic's need for a midfielder isn't as great as the need for a striker was. They obviously prioritised positions, and this is just an option they're going to press ahead with.
And I said on Thursday night, Gordon, it was a no-brainer for me. If he's available and you're only paying a wage from now to the end of the season, and if you can keep him fit. Now people say, well, he's not played for so many months, getting up to speed. Nowadays footballers go up to speed very, very quickly. It's just the way it is. Everything about it, sports science, everything that goes with being a professional now. It's not the old days where you needed about 6-7 weeks before you got that much fitness. They're up to speed quickly. I think for the way Celtic are and the bodies they brought in, I think it's a good bit of business. As a gamble, everything's a gamble. I would certainly, if I was in Celtic shoes, take it.
While we don't know whether he will hit the ground running or not, I think in overall terms, Celtic and Rangers fans look at the January transfer window, and surely the Celtic fans will agree that Rangers have done better business.
Well, we don't know that until we see
them play.
Well, I look at Rangers midweek, and Skov Olsen gets his goal, and I freely concede that at Easter Road last Sunday he was a non-contributor, but I think he'll come up to speed. Romans came on and he looked the part straight away. Nadiri will, I think, score goals for Rangers. I just think there's a greater degree of reliability about the signings that they have made, and that, having said that the first two loanees that Celtic got in have been very good, I'm not sure the Celtic supporters buy into the others who've come in.
Is it not the ultimate example of only time can tell? You may well be right. On the 7th of May, you might say, I told you Rangers signings would turn out better, but do we have any choice but to wait and see? Whoever it may be, I think they might just turn out to be a revelation, because none of us know.
Yeah, I happen to think that Rangers are more likely. I think that Rangers have the capability to beat Motherwell and Hearts in quick succession next week, and if Rangers hit the top of the league next weekend, I'm not sure they're coming back off it.
The only thing I will say to that, Hugh, I think on paper, see if you look on paper at the players Rangers brought in compared to Celtic, you probably say, Rangers have done better transfer business. You talked the other night there, they played against a Kilmarnock team for 90 odd minutes with 10 men. Right, now that's taking nothing away. I thought second half Rangers were very good. You're right about the fullback, Romans, isn't it? He looked excellent when he come on, but he freed him to go and play like a left winger with Moore because Kilmarnock were down to 10 men. So it was a lot of difference there. I totally agree. I look at Rangers and I'm starting to fancy Rangers more and more about the way they're going about their business. But I'm going to sort of hold that off till I see what Celtic have brought in and what they're going to produce for
especially if you're all acknowledging that Aruko and Chavanchara have looked good.
Yeah.
Well, the same people that picked those two have picked the others, presumably.
Listen, the acid test for Rangers will come quickly. It'll come before the acid test for Celtic, because Rangers have got to go to Fir Park in midweek, and then Hearts come to Ibrox next weekend. Two enormous tests for Danny Rowell and his new signing. If, as Hugh says, they can pick up 6 points, they're heavily in the title race.
Fraser Wishart, I know in your role at PFA Scotland you've always got maybe a different perspective on the different types of transfers we see and all that sort of stuff. What about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's imminent arrival?
Well, I think David Friel hit the nail on the head a wee bit, where they're saying that it's a kind of no-brainer. If you can get him in and there's no real damage can be done, yeah, you've got to pay him some wages, but if he doesn't have another club, then there might not be the massive wages he's used to being on. And it was an area that Celtic hadn't addressed. Celtic hadn't signed any midfield players in the window, and I'm not sure they needed to, because they're pretty strong in there. But the big danger, when Daz was talking about players these days, sports scientists and fitness and all that kind of stuff, and he's right, they do come back early, but he hasn't played since last May. They've just got to be careful in a short space of time not to overload him and get him up to speed, because they did that with Iheanacho. Iheanacho comes in and he starts to play and he's looking alright, hamstring, and he's done it a couple of times as well. These are the types of injuries that you get when you're not match fit. So yeah, I mean, he's one player. You're talking there about Rangers and Celtic and who's done the best business. None of us know. I mean, did any of us really have heard of many of these players that were signing these days? Oxlade-Chamberlain, yes. Scott Holston, I'd seen him play and knew of him, but the others we don't know, because our clubs nowadays are not signing players from the very highest level and people that we see week in, week out on the television. So just got to wait and see. How is Junior Adamu? How is Joe Muvuka? Do they turn out to be good signings? Who knows? We don't know. But a fascinating time now, because the window's closed. Managers have got to do the best with the squads they've got now between now and the end of the season. Yeah,
Alison McConnell, you've got your finger on the pulse when it comes to Celtic's trials and tribulations of recent seasons. What have you made of the sort of end to this week?
I think you can have two simultaneous truths here. I think you can say that the signing of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain points to a fact that the transfer window was chaotic again for Celtic, that there didn't seem to be any clear strategy. I think when you're scrambling around in the last few days of the window and desperately trying to get players in over the line, and then you're going in and bringing in free agents, I think it does point to not having the right kind of structure in place, that you're identifying exactly what you want and you go out and try and get it the minute the window opens, which had been the anticipation on the back of a very disjointed summer window. At the same time, you can see he is a player of quality, of prestige. He has a fantastic background in the game. He has the potential on paper to go in and improve Celtic. But the big question mark is, of course, is he match fit? And it's very different to be training every day, but it's an entirely different prospect then to go in and be match ready. And I think when you get to the January transfer window and you look at where Celtic are at the minute, the nature of the season, the gap that exists, I think what they needed here were players who were ready and willing and able to come in and hit the ground running. Now, that's quite clearly not going to be the case with someone who's going to have to get up to speed. So there remains a huge question mark over whether he will have a telling contribution to make across the last 4 months or so of the campaign. But I think just to echo what Fraser said there, I think it is too early to judge when you're making an assessment on the business that has been done. I think there are very few of us who would have a working knowledge prior to these names coming to the fore of what their attributes are, what they contribute, and how they're expected to fit in and how they're going to gel. I think the proof will be in the pudding across recent weeks, and I think Glasgow in particular can be a very demanding environment to walk into if you're not familiar with it. There's a unique pressure in playing for Celtic and Rangers, especially when there is a title to be won, and it is as fraught as all the signs point to it being.
Is this the difference, Roger, like we said there about the Iheanacho, where Celtic needed him to hit the ground running, so to speak, whereas the need for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain might not quite be as high? You know, if he was, let's say he was fit straight away, willing to go, would he start the game anyway? You know, it's not a, I'm not saying it's a brilliantly strong Celtic midfield, but it's not an area they were crying out for. Whereas when Iheanacho came in, they needed a striker, they needed him to come, and as Fraser said, maybe that process was rushed. I assume they don't have to do that the same this time.
No, and that's what makes the signing all the more intriguing for me. It's not an area that you would perceive as a weakness for Celtic. If they've got a midfield of McGregor, Engels and Nygren, then they're reasonably well served there, and they've still got McCowan, they've still got Hatate, they've still got Bernardo around.
Are you surprised
about
that like Bernardo as an example didn't leave in January?
Yeah, I'm also surprised they turned down £25 million for Arnie Engels when you listen to some of the calls from Celtic fans in this show. So it'll be fascinating to see when Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is ready to play, how big a role he will play between now and the end of the season, because Celtic are in a title fight, but they're also chasing the Scottish Cup as well as a double to be won.
I'm going to contradict myself slightly here, because although I said maybe it's better to just wait and see, nobody really knows how these players are going to play out. For a bit of fun, since this will be the last week probably we have a transfer heavy section, I want all of you to try and tell me the one best piece of business from the transfer window. Now it could be a player that stayed, it could be a player that was sold, brought in, whatever. Just get your predictions out there. What is the one best piece of business across the transfer window? What?
Maswinisi.
So you think Motherwell keeping Maswinisi is the best piece of business anywhere in Scotland?
Gives
this
them
window
a great opportunity to win. And I think Motherwell are looking at the top three now.
I thought you might say getting Stephen Welsh back, but okay.
No,
keeping Maswinisi.
Yeah, your goal scorer.
Who's dropping out then of the top three?
One of the three.
Tell you after Wednesday.
You said that Motherwell will go in the top three.
Who's
not going to be in the top three?
I think Motherwell could get the top three.
Tell you after Wednesday.
You think they'll be
above Celtic? Could. I'm not saying they will, but I think they could, and I think that they'll go against Rangers next week at Fir Park, which I'm looking forward to. And I think they'll be confident to turn Rangers over.
Roger Hannah, the best piece of business in the Scottish transfer window.
Going on what Fraser Wishart said a moment ago, just purely based on reputation and what we know, the highest profile arrival is Andreas Skov-Olsen. If he can play the way people know he can play, he could be a difference maker for Rangers.
Okay.
He was the marquee signing. Well, given that it's an option to buy, but if they buy, it's in the realms of £9 million that Rangers will have to pay.
That's what I mean. Is that good business? I'm not asking who the best player is. I'm asking what the best piece of business was.
I agree with Roger. I think he will turn out to be the best piece of business. Although Shvanchara at Celtic Park, I think the assist at Tynecastle, the goal last week, I think he has the capability to be a real find for Celtic. But I think overall, I think that Andreas Skov-Olsen will be the best piece of business.
Right, I'm going to see if anyone's getting creative out there. David Friel, best piece of business done in the window anywhere?
I would agree with the Skov-Olsen signing in terms of income, and I'm not saying he's going to win Rangers the league, but I do think he's of a certain pedigree that kind of sets him apart. However, I think the best business has been Maswinisi as well. I was really taken by how strong Motherwell were. James Bertolascu asked him a few times over the last few weeks about Tawanda Maswinisi. He also said on Tuesday that there was final day interest. They did have to almost reject bids or offers on the final day. I think full credit to Motherwell. They want to have a special season. They kept their top goal scorer, and well done to them.
Fraser Wishart, any advance, any change? Well, I think we lost Fraser. Is Alison still with us?
Yeah, hi, I'm back with you now. Yeah, Yeah, I think Scott Olsen looks like the obvious one just now, just because of everything around the transfer window. I have to say, I think Van Schara has had a very good start at Celtic. I've seen him over 2 games. I think he looks as though he will contribute. Again, it's just about how quickly players can settle. Sometimes I think if you come in and settle well and get off to a good start, it just lays the groundwork for a productive couple of months and just an easing very, very quickly into a team. Well, the converse, of course, can also be true. I would echo what David said there as well. I think keeping Maswanhise was huge for Motherwell. I think it was absolutely massive. We all know how much interest was in him, and as it got towards the final days, you did think, was there going to be a bid tabled that would just question that resolve? I know the club were very resilient all the way through, and they were very steadfast in saying that they would be batting away anything. We know that they didn't have to sell. So with that Lennon Miller cash there, they weren't in a position where they were going to have to cash in on him. I think that could be fantastic in keeping him in terms of what it may lead to for them this season and the financial rewards that will then come with that.
I think you might have overlooked Hibs getting £7 million for Kieran Bowie.
And a better player coming in from Tottenham.
Potentially.
Dane Scarlett.
Pressure on him. Not a good piece of business.
Great bit of business. Yeah, I forgot all about that, to be honest with you, Gordon, but I just look at my own team and see where they are and how they're performing, and I thought in days gone by, if somebody showed an interest, maybe 2-3 million, I think teams like Motherwell know that. Snap your hand off. They stood firm, and I'm delighted to see that.
Must be the best outgoing piece of business, Roger, because we always tread that fine line between business and trying to get money in versus fans just want to see good players play for their team. I don't detect many Hibs fans with any complaints whatsoever at a £7 million sale for Kieran Bowie.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with that. A guy who cost you £600,000. He's got one goal and 4, I think, during his time at Hibernian. A couple of big wins, that European one, spectacular goal in the winner in the last Edinburgh derby. But if you're getting £6 or £7 million for Kieran Bowie, that is a major boost for the finances at Hibernian. As Hugh says, they've reinvested it. They've got some loan players in, including Dane Scarlett, and the other lad, Antti Schuto, started quite well with that last win against Dundee United in midweek.
Going to be a great Edinburgh derby on Tuesday.
Looking forward to it. Fraser Wishart is back. You can have the final say then, Fraser. What was the best piece of business done anywhere in Scotland, in or out? Take it away.
St Mirren, Jacob Devaney, young lad on loan from Manchester United. I was at St Mirren Hearts game during the week. He was terrific, scored last night. He just looks a very confident, calm midfield player for a youngster coming and taking the ball from everybody. So I think he'll be outstanding. It'll be interesting to see how he kicks on at St Mirren, because he looks a right good player.
See, that's why I like Fraser, a connoisseur's choice. He's thought about that, put a bit of consideration behind it. Let's park it for now and we'll go back round the grounds next.
The fastest goals, the experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
A bit of a different Saturday for us here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard, but different can be good. Who knows where this afternoon will take us? There's not loads of games to focus on. The weather has played its part in that. The Cup and television scheduling also meant it was going to be a bit of a disrupted weekend anyway. So we've had our fun debating some of the week's biggest talking points, but we'll do plenty more like that as the show progresses, and I think we'll probably open those phone lines early as well. But let's go back round the grounds. We've got 2 games in the Cup at 3 o'clock. We're even going to shine the light on one of our local teams in League 2 as well. Let's start again with Elgin against Partick Thistle. Alison, Partick Thistle have their priority fight, you would imagine, being at the top end of that championship and trying to keep pressure on St Johnstone, and if they can't overtake them, then getting themselves in a good position for the playoffs. I think a tie like this, though, and looking at the way the draws panned out, that maybe has scope to go on a bit of a cup run.
Absolutely. Listen, I think every team would welcome that. I think it's fair to say the priority is very clearly trying to get back into the top flight, whether that be automatically or, as you say, coming in via a playoff. I think that's certainly the ambition of this club, to get back to where they feel as though they belong and where they want to be. But no one is going to sniff a Scottish Cup run, particularly when it just can enhance your season. I think it can give you a freshness going through a league campaign too. I think it can give you an edge to a squad if people are competing for a starting place in a fairly high profile game. I think there is a there's a kick-on element when you're then approaching league games. I think it can augment your season very well, and certainly just for the Thistle support, it adds a whole layer of interest. It adds some more intrigue, a bit of excitement, and of course it just raises the possibility, well, where can you go if you have a lucky draw? If the draw's kind to you, then it can open up all sorts of opportunities. So I don't think there's any question. I don't think they would see it as a hindrance or a distraction in terms of league duty, but rather as something that could go and supplement what is shaping up and what could still be a very memorable campaign for those of us for Hill persuasion.
Do you think the gaffer will drop the "I'm a former winner of this competition" line in his team talk?
Well, I was, funnily enough, I was actually wondering that as I was driving up. I was wondering how many times Mark Wilson had won the Scottish Cup. I think he only won it once, actually, in 2011.
Yeah,
I think 2007.
He claims he scored in that final, but believe me, as a Motherwell fan, I can confirm that it was definitely an own goal. I think Mark was actually, whatever it was, across, it was going backwards, and somebody deflected it in, but
he may bring that up in his team talks, but certainly what you would say is that the Scottish Cup offered his own career some fairly memorable moments. If I'm right, I remember a goal against Rangers, a fairly bad-tempered game. I think there might have been 3 red cards in it or so. I think Mark scored in that one, so it's a competition where you can go and enjoy it. I think it takes the pressure is off.
He scored he scored the only goal of that game against Rangers, and it led to a government hearing the following day, if you recall.
I do like the way he always put that goal reflecting on it, where he thought, this is it, I'm a Celtic fan all my life, I've scored the winner in an Old Firm game, I'm going to be the back page of the paper. And I think he said he had to go back about 10 pages to find any mention of it, because it was all about Neil Lennon and Alan McCoy.
Then the late First Minister Alex Salmon get involved the next day. When we heard he was demanding a government inquiry, we thought it was because he couldn't believe Mark Wilson had scored a goal.
Correct.
But it was for the scenes of disorder, various players. I think Maggie Bagheera, Stephen Whittaker sent off, I think, for Rangers, and it happened only 3 or 4 days after the birth of the Bruni at Ibrox in the 2-2 game, the original time.
My abiding memory is of Ali McCoy, and his feet were going like the clappers, but the late great Sir Walter Smith had the back of Ali's jacket and was holding him back from further controversy with Neil Lennon. What a night that was.
I'm going to link that tie to your tie, Fraser, in the sense of, dreaming about a cup run and looking at what could lie ahead, because the winner of Dunfermline Kelty probably hopes to get the winner of Elgin Partick Thistle, and vice versa. It shows you what's possible when the draw potentially opens up for you.
Yeah, I think they'll be dreaming of Hampden if they win this game. The Dunfermline players, Neil Lennon would love to take this team back to Hampden, a place where he's had so much success, and I think he was really annoyed last week, when the team lost 2-0 to Airdrie, because they'd had that cup win against Hibs. They beat St Johnstone, the league leaders, away from him 1-0 as well, and they've got momentum going, but they lost 2-0 to Airdrie. So he made a couple of changes, but you're absolutely spot on. There's going to be at least 2 non-Premiership clubs in the draw when it's made tomorrow. So would they want to play each other? Probably, but the finance guys at the clubs might want an away tie against the Old Firm, and potentially on telly as well, and a fee for that as well. So there's all sorts of benefits to winning this game for Dunfermline, and you can't see anything other than that. I was just talking to a couple of local journalists here as well, and they're talking about Kelty and the players they've got missing. It's unbelievable. And I'm looking at their team on the pitch. I think they've only got 6 subs. Most of them are from the under-19 squad. I mean, I know I'm getting old, but these lads look about as if they're doing a paper round this morning and just still going to school. So really decimated the whole Kelty squad, and they'll just be, I think, focusing on the league and trying to get out of the relegation battle there for their new owners. But for Dunfermline, big club as we all know, win here today, it just opens up all sorts of possibilities on and off the field.
And we did say we've got a featured League 2 match. I'm not sure I've ever said that in my 9 years or so on this show, but there we are. David Friel is at Edinburgh City against East Kilbride, and just to prove that we can make it all about the Scottish Cup, David Friel, East Kilbride, they've got a bit of an anniversary today, do they not?
Yeah, they do. 10 years to the day, Gordon, since East Kilbride played Celtic, and I think that must have been under Brendan Rodgers back in the day, or maybe Ronnie Dial, actually, forgive me. 10 years on, they're in League 2, trying to get into League 1. And I remember doing that game, I remember covering the game, speaking to players around it, guys around the club, and talking about how their ultimate ambition was to give East Kilbride a club in the SPFL. They've managed that, and they just want to keep going now. They just want to keep going up and up. I'll be honest with you, I thought they would have romped this league. I thought they'd been well cleared by now, but they're having a real title fight with Spartans and some others as well, and I think this one is going to be a really crucial game for them in that title hunt.
And it's not just Partick Thistle. Clyde One Super Scoreboard reaches out and touches a few clubs down the pyramid. Scott Allen was on last night. He's on the coaching staff at East Kilbride. Does his responsibility stretch any further than setting out the cones on a day like this? Or
I've just watched him taking the shooting drills for a good 5-10 minutes there, Gordon. He was a classy player. I thought his touches were sublime. His layoffs were on point. I'm just not sure about his boots. I think he went for, I'm not sure if it was white or silver, but I'm not sure. Should a coach be wearing that?
It's a no from me.
Yeah.
The coaches,
Yeah.
white boots.
Young trendy boy like him, with the hair flicked back all day long.
Played for Celtic in that game against East Kilbride.
I'd have a pair of shorts on, right up there, my golden boots on.
See, when you say
and my
right up there, it's radio.
onto
Nobody
my
can
hips.
see where you're pointing.
To my hips, showing the brown legs up and down, wee layoffs, flicks, round the corner.
It's going to be a long day, this, isn't it?
Why don't we just get
so
to a
little
commercial
football.
break now and leave him?
The truth is, I was trying to pad a bit to make it a more appropriate time for the break, but maybe we
Just
could
dump him.
There we go. The scene is set. It's a shame that we've not got as many ties as we would have liked. It isn't all down to the rain. We do have a different scheduling on Scottish Cup weekend. I'm looking forward already to building up to Celtic against Dundee, because as a cup tie in isolation, it's interesting, but you add in the supposedly imminent signing of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, you add in the debate about the boycott. There will be one, but to what extent? Would it have been a low crowd anyway? Are you going? Are you not going? Why don't we open the phone lines nice and early on a Saturday afternoon where there's not that much football? It might not be wall-to-wall calls, but we'll have some fun throughout the afternoon. 0141 951 1025. Get in touch with whatever is on your mind, and we'll get the 3 o'clock games up and running next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
That's us getting underway on our limited Scottish Cup card that we've got this afternoon. Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah and Gordon Dale are in the studio. In light of it being a bit quieter, we've opened the phone lines nice and early for you. Not the usual 5 o'clock opening, 3 o'clock. An extra 2 hours of phone calls if you want. 0141 951 1025. You want to talk Oxlade-Chamberlain, Celtic boycotts, the transfer window, the Scottish Cup, whatever you want, we are here for you. So please give us a call. A late change to the Partick Thistle team that we told you about earlier. The new signing Fraser Taylor injured in the warm-up, so he's had to be replaced by Kyle Turner. And depending on where you get your lineups, I've been sent a screenshot of one particular app which has Tony Watt, another friend of the show, in goal for Partick Thistle. I'm going to assume that that's an administrative error,
or it's versatility of a very high order.
I can't be having it, surely not.
Play with a backy. MD can save.
No, I can see this same website or app has Josh Clark in the midfield, and
If I was
imagining
Mark,
he's in goal.
If I was Mark Wilson, I'd feel the hand of fate on my shoulder when your new signing pulls up lame in the warm-up.
He'll be looking at that spot constantly where he gets sacked.
You've got no sympathy for him, do you?
No, I love it. I can't wait to get sacked for there as well.
Good setback.
By the first phone call he'll get.
He's bounced back. I'll keep repeating it sporadically throughout the show just because it is a bit different. We've opened the phone lines early because it's a quieter day, but you don't have to. You can wait until the traditional hour, but why not? Why not take advantage of it? Join in, and it doesn't need to be about today's games. You've got the window, you've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, you've got the Celtic boycott, you've got a big midweek in the title race coming up. There's a lot there, so 0141 951 1025 right now if you're that way inclined, and if not, we'll crack on and get through the Saturday afternoon action. We did say for maybe the first time ever we've managed to shine a light on League 2. It's one of our local teams as well in East Kilbride. Baldy almost scoring straight away in that one, but nothing doing yet, nothing doing in any of our featured matches. The first goal in Scotland, and almost makes that journey worth it. Cove Rangers 0, Queen of the South 1. That's not a journey for the faint of heart in this weather, is it?
It's not a journey in the summer.
Cove have got an artificial pitch though, yes.
So
that's why they've survived when all around them,
the Balmoral Stadium,
haven't, Aberdeen, etc.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Roger?
I haven't, and unlike Alison, it's not one I want to tick off either.
Nah, there's a lot that I don't want to tick off.
Aberdeen,
I struggle to tick off Fir Park.
One of the games cancelled today was Aberdeen Motherwell tonight. I think we were all really looking forward to it, but it was one of the most inevitable call-offs because the game was off during the week and it's not stopped raining ever since.
Yeah, I loved the caller during the week who said that Celtic had demanded the postponement of their game at Pittodrie.
Loved is one word for it.
Yeah. But what's intrigued me this morning, the manager that Aberdeen would like to bring in, Eric Honneland, late of Saint Etienne. Roger, apparently he was on £3 million per year at Saint Etienne. He won't get that at Pittodrie.
Same nickname as Gordon Dalziel as well, apparently, but I don't know. Aberdeen actually got a big budget they pay, don't they, Roger Hannah?
Right over my head, but I'll find it.
They pay well, but she was probably right. It would be
They do pay well, and Dave Cormack has invested an awful lot of money in that underachieving squad of players. I saw them for Super Scoreboard last Saturday at Kilmarnock. They were pitiful. And Eric Horneland or whoever takes the job on a permanent basis will have his work cut out. He might not get £3 million a year, but it would certainly, once he sees that squad, he may well go back and ask for it again.
A bit of a concern though. Look, there's nothing you can do, despite what certain callers may say. If it rains too much, the pitches will not handle it, Roger. It's been freak weather. But you know, Aberdeen, that's a couple stacked up at home for them. Motherwell, to be fair, both on the road, but 2 cancellations back to back. Fraser's always good for this. There's not a lot of free weeks really between now and the end of the season, believe it or not.
You're beginning to sound like Neil Doncaster saying that. Listen, we always manage to squeeze the games, and I loved Motherwell's statement yesterday when they announced the postponement. They said, we appreciate the transparency and proactiveness of all parties during this process.
It's important.
Because Celtic didn't think there was a lot of transparency or proactivity when their game got called off late on Wednesday night. It rains in Aberdeen in February. That is the truth of the matter. It
They've
rains
not had
in
any
Dundee.
sunlight. Forget your football stats. That was my favourite stat of the week.
What do you mean?
In Aberdeen there has been no sunlight for 14 days. None.
Seriously? Oh, I couldn't live there. Well, now we know how the story's all about Dave.
That's not to say that Lanarkshire is like being tropical or anything, but they officially have had sunlight, whereas
I was
Aberdeen
standing at the top of Lanark today overlooking and decided that wasn't for me.
What, you went to the first tee and then turned round?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not like you.
You know, 8 o'clock, standing there, the big driver in my hand, ready to go. But unfortunately, weather just
got the better of you.
Got the better. Too cold as well, Gordon.
I did wonder why you've turned up in an Under Armour polo neck.
Yeah.
For your shift on Clyde One Super
I'm still
Scoreboard.
cold from this morning.
Fraser's right though. He says if Celtic have another game postponed, that could be a real problem because they're still in Europe. So we will wait and see. Inverness Cally Thistle, they're still playing in League One today against East Fife. They're 1 up thanks to Alfie Stewart. Hugh, whilst we get some calls in if they want, we've got a first half teaser, so let's get that up and running from you.
Teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
We are all eagerly awaiting the outcome of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's medical ongoing at the moment. And in light of his proposed move to Celtic, can you tell me who are the last 7 players to have signed for an old firm club after making at least 10 appearances for Liverpool? Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, once of Anfield, a proposed move to Celtic today. Who are the last 7 players to have signed for one of the old firm, or for each of the old firm clubs, after making at least 10 appearances for Liverpool?
Oh, good question. At Clyde SSB, go. The race has started. One tweet, all the names, send it to Clyde SSB quicker than everyone else. That is how you win the first half teaser. If you just want to take part gently, you can throw the odd name here or there, see what sticks. But it's always good fun. Some very interesting names on there as well, so get going. There's a really interesting dynamic in the studio today because Roger Hannah is writing furiously, and like a primary 2, Gordon Dalziel is looking over his shoulder and trying to copy his work.
Yeah, and he's writing in shorthand. That's the worst of it. You do shorthand, don't you?
Yeah, T-line shorthand. We'll show you later on after we explain your nickname.
What's the difference between shorthand and T-line shorthand?
It's just a type of shorthand. They're different types. You can have Pitman's shorthand, you could have T-line shorthand.
You're wasting your time here, Roger.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, the conversation about what's the highest ground above sea level doesn't
yes.
sound so bad, does it?
It's now faded into insignificance.
You mocked me last night. Here is your choice: shorthand or sea level.
I'll take sea level.
Thank you very much.
One finger typer. Can you do shorthand?
No.
There you go then.
Can you?
No, but he's a journalist. If I was a journalist, that's the first thing I'd have learned.
But I started 56 years ago. They didn't have shorthand then.
Of course he did.
He was a trailblazer. He's always been. He does things his own way.
He does a one typer. I've watched you in action here.
Is David Friel a shorthander? Is he too young a journalist to be?
I'm not actually sure.
Are you self-taught? No, like a piano?
No.
See, they can all stick
probably
their they can all stick their telephones in front of managers now.
Exactly. Just press record.
In our day, we had to tremble at Jock Stein and Willie Waddle and try and write at the same time.
David Field says qualified but rusty. That sounds like a
That's
fair,
just his hairstyle.
a fair balance. Right, no goals to tell you about in our featured matches. Your first half teasers up and running, and the phone lines are open early today because it's a bit of a different Saturday. So why don't we dive in there actually with David, who is on the line. Hi David.
How you doing? All right, mate?
Good, how are you? What are you thinking today?
All right, how you doing, panel?
Hi David.
Just about this, is it Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain? Is that his name?
It is.
Right. And what about it? That's all I can say. I just think the second half of that performance the other night there, Rangers against Kilmarnock, I reckon if these new players can train together, can gel together very, very quickly, that league ain't coming down to the last wire. Rangers will run away with that. Just your thoughts?
I don't disagree with you.
As in Rangers will run away with it?
Well, in my own...
Definitely. I don't think this is going down to the wire.
In my own Sunday newspaper column last week, I said I think Rangers will win the league with a bit to spare.
Wow.
That's not exactly running away with it, but I think they'll win with a bit to spare.
I'm the same as you then, Hugh. In my heap, this isn't going down to the last games of the season.
No, I don't think so either. I think Hearts have got a really trying week ahead. They have, although they're playing Hibs at Tynecastle, Hibs have made some very clever additions on loan, and I think could be good for a point at Tynecastle. And I don't think Hearts will get anything from Ibrox next weekend.
It just feels like, if we look at the arithmetic a little bit, we've got 25 games played, 24 for Celtic. Hearts are still top. Like, even if Rangers were to win, it just feels like running away with it might be quite an ask.
I think it could go to the wire, to be honest with you. I think the three teams have showed that, especially Hearts. I think we've sat here week in, week out waiting for Hearts to fall away with a couple of bad results. They've just kept going. When they do get a couple of bad results, they bounce back again. They've had the better of Celtic and Rangers this season. I still think there's points obviously to be dropped, because I'm looking at Rangers' next away game at Motherwell, and I think that is going to be a real difficult game for them. Forget Hearts. I think that Fir Park will be more difficult than Ibrox against Hearts.
I think it goes to the wire, Gordon. I think it goes after the split when they all play each other again. The next week is going to be fascinating because, as we said earlier, Rangers to go to Fir Park of Hearts at home, whereas Celtic have got Livingston and Kilmarnock, the two bottom teams in the Premiership. So Celtic are a few points adrift at the minute, albeit with a game in hand. I think that gap will be closed by a week on Sunday.
I understand that to the wire to mean the very last day of the season. Is that what you think?
I think it'll go to the last day of the season, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a fluid definition. I think we could give each other the last couple of games, last two games.
It will be fascinating as well. Your pal Neil Doncaster sorting out the fixtures.
Why you? No, you're getting mixed up. Willie Collum, I will accept. I don't know Neil Doncaster in any way. I don't know how this has started. I've spoken to Neil Doncaster once in the last 5 years, I would imagine.
Your pal Neil Doncaster, when he does the fixtures.
That's a really strange one. That one's lost on me. Sorry, David, you'll try to come back in.
Yeah, it's about Aberdeen's pitch. Now, need disrespect, probably Celtic fans were on the way up there last week, or was it during the week or whatever?
Week, yeah.
Right. Now, see, obviously, the game today, that get called off very early. But did Dundee not get in 2024? Did Dundee not get fined for this? Carry on. They can find something.
There is no carry on, though, David. There is no carry on.
In Dundee's, it was like almost like a repeat offence, wasn't it? And it kept happening.
They had a very bad pitch, and it got progressively worse. And the club had to spend big money on rectifying the pitch. But there is no carry on here. Aberdeen asked for a pitch inspection at 1:30. Alan Burrows, the chief executive, has confirmed that. And they had to wait until 4 o'clock until a referee turned up. That wasn't Aberdeen's fault. And Celtic may be interested in an explanation, but the explanation will involve a complaint against the administrators, not against Aberdeen Football Club. And the game with Motherwell, the cup tie with Motherwell, which was there taking place tonight, was called off more than 24 hours before it was due to take place because the region has been hit by freak weather. The pitch has been suffering as a consequence, so there is no carry on. Aberdeen at the moment, because of the weather, simply cannot play on their pitch.
See, of all the various sort of tedious debates we have in Scottish football, Roger Hannah, I wonder if there's any that is harder to do the right thing than this whole notion around games being postponed, where everybody would acknowledge fans deserve as much notice as possible. But similarly, as Fraser's pointed out with the schedule, the only thing, arguably, worse than not giving fans enough notice would be calling off a game that didn't need called off and calling it off too early because there isn't scope. Then it feels like it is verging on impossible to do the right thing sometimes and please everybody.
I know what you mean, but I don't think there's any controversy over these postponements. I mean, you saw the pictures yourself from Pittodrie on Wednesday afternoon of that area in front of the Merklin stand. There was no way the game could have been played. Similarly, I should have been at McDermott Park today for Super Scoreboard, a rearranged game, St Johnstone against Ayr. It went off with a 9:15 pitch inspection, and having seen McDermott Park for the game that was on against Partick Thistle 8 days ago, it doesn't surprise me at all that game was off. Tannadice, similarly, they have had an awful lot of bad weather in the northeast of Scotland.
Just to go back to something before we let you go, David, you opened up by mentioning Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, so as a Rangers fan, that's not a signing you are worried about or think that can improve Celtic?
No.
In a word, thanks very much. That was David in Cumbernauld on 01419511025. If you're wondering what's going on, you don't need to adjust your clock. We've just opened the phone lines a bit early because it is a rain hit disrupted Scottish Cup weekend in which we've had no goals yet.
And we await the goals, and we also await the outcome of that Oxlade-Chamberlain medical. I wonder, would it be in Celtic's mind, even though there's talk of a boycott, would it be in Celtic's mind to bring him out and say, yes, he's passed the medical, he's signed, here he is, our new player?
Yeah, of course. I've not just take him outside the front door. You'll introduce some of the fans there.
Rangers did out the 3 new signings, Scott Volson, the Romans and Chukwuani. They did it before they was at the Annan game in the last round of the Cup. They did it, so I see no reason why Celtic wouldn't. If he's in the building, get him out the building onto the pitch.
The Celtic fans are desperate for some positivity, and that's why Brian Wilson, the interim chairman, broke cover, I think, and went on Celtic TV and spoke of unity, and why Martin O'Neill has spoken of reconciliation, and all of these words are being used. Celtic appear to be, off the park, a deeply unhappy club, and no club thrives on internal warfare.
I'm with Unity just now, Hugh, and listen, I'm all with the Celtic fans. I look at the transfer windows, not just over the last couple, but there've been more than that. They've been disastrous for Celtic. They really have. No, let's not be kidded here. But I think it's too important a part of the season. You've got a potential double. You're in a title race with 2 really good teams beside you as well. So togetherness for me.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
First goal in the Scottish Cup today goes the way of Partick Thistle. It's Elgin City 0, Partick Thistle 1, and it is Robbie Crawford with the goal. Tony Watt's delivery, and Crawford tucked it away from round about 10 yards, and that is exactly the start that Mark Wilson, Alex Ray, Tony Watt and everyone else who spends their time on Clyde One Super Scoreboard and at Partick Thistle was looking for. The Jags have the lead.
And no one will be happier than Alison McConnell, because it probably means there won't be any extra time and she'll get down the road in normal time.
Still plenty of time. But
so what difference does that goal make to there not being any extra time?
Elgin will not come back 3-0. Thistle, I told you at 5-3.
Yeah. Listen, it's the start that you're looking for. See, when you go away from home, I've been there a long time ago as a manager, and you go up to the Highlands, there's a cup shock, everybody's waiting for it. Just see when you get that, go to the first goal, you think, okay, we could be okay today.
Hugh Keevins and Scott Allen assured me there would be no extra time at Airdrie last night.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Honestly,
life's like that.
So when you get the first 3 at Inverness that day, you were quite comfortable?
Oh, I was Monk. I didn't even come out for the second half.
What did you make of
then I got a police escort
progressing last night?
I agree with the Dazzler. They let them, Airdrie ultimately let themselves down with some dozy defending, which allowed St Mirren to get the winning goal in the last 5 minutes of extra time. But Airdrie, prior to that, were denied a stone wall penalty.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And that's the difference now that people talk about VAR, for instance. Right, obviously no VAR last night. And I'm watching where Kevin Clancy is. He's got a decent view of it, and I'm thinking, how does a referee of his quality, and I'm not criticising him because he's a top referee.
You can criticise him if you want.
No, I don't criticise referees. No, I don't criticise referees. I think it's a difficult job. They do make mistakes, and I thought he made a very big one last night for Airdrie. It's a penalty kick.
Listen, Stephen Robinson will just be glad he's got in and out of Airdrie. They are still in the cup. The cup double is still on for St Mirren. It could be a mega season in Paisley. They're the first name in the hat tomorrow night, and the way they play, as long as they get a home draw, they will fancy their chances of getting back to Hampden.
It feels like, sorry, I was going to say on the penalty, it feels a bit, Roger, like the whole sort of debate around VAR has become so relentless and tiring that you almost forget, but because we're so obsessed with the fact that it can still get things wrong, to use quotes, or mistakes can still happen, you sometimes forget then that there's a really high chance that that's just cleared up last night. Because I get why people on the other side say, no, not necessarily, because there have been mistakes. Yeah, but there's still a really high chance that the right outcome comes last night.
And it's one of these sort of factual errors, if you like, isn't it? And the VAR would just say to Kevin Clancy, you've got that one wrong, come and have a look if you want to have a look, but I think you'll probably change your mind.
Roger's got one wrong so far. He's got the others are all right, but he's got one wrong in the first half teaser.
One, and that is shorthand one. I'm looking here. You're quite a nice writer, Roger, I've got to say.
Anyway, forget the teaser for a minute. I said the phone lines were open early. Now, Nathan's a Partick Thistle fan who presumably could not or would not take the trip to Elgin today, Nathan, so you're just listening to us instead.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make it today. I'm a bit gutted, to be honest with you. But first and foremost, just want to say good afternoon to the panel, and thanks for taking my call. Hope you're doing well.
Thank you, Nathan.
To be honest with you, what I wanted to kind of mention today, the first thing I wanted to say was we took 1,200 fans up there and sold out our away allocation for a trip, and obviously the weather conditions all the way up to Elgin. I think that's absolutely incredible for the club and just everybody involved. I think it's amazing. Fortunately, I'm not one of the ones that are there, which is rubbish, but fair play to them all, and it was good to see the videos and all that on Facebook, and the buses leaving early bells and all that, so being rewarded and all, which is good.
How much of that does come from just the feel-good factor that's been built up, Nathan, in the last few months?
I think it definitely plays an impact. I was at McDermott Park last Friday, and I felt we were worth a point, to be honest. I thought we were arguably maybe the better team in the first half. I think St Johnstone kind of flexed their muscles a wee bit in the second half, but it's difficult to kind of, like you were talking about it just now there about the park, it's difficult to really kind of, for the both teams to try and play any ball. So I feel at that point was probably a good result overall. Definitely more for us, more so than St Johnstone. I felt that it keeps the kind of title race quite tight as well. Do you know what I mean? If they win their game in hand, they go 5 clear, which isn't an insurmountable amount to try and overturn. So, and plus the next time we play them, they need to come back to Firhill, and we'll beat them there this season. Do you know what I mean? So it definitely keeps it interesting. I think the job that Ian Barraclough, Mark Wilson and Alex Ray have done on the budget that Thistle have had this season, I was sceptical at the start of the season. I definitely didn't think we'd be sitting where we are now at all. But they've been able to bring in, young players and mixing it with a bit of experience. Obviously Tony Watt coming in, which has just been an outstanding sign. And then now we've had the news that Josh Clark and Ben McPherson have signed up to stay on after their loan spells, which is incredible. Do you know what I mean, as well? So it does just go to show the good work that is happening behind the scenes. And as I was saying there, like the budget situation at Thistle at the beginning of the season was really, really alarming. So what a job they've done. Do you know what I mean? It's been good. They have brought a feel good factor back to Firhill.
Yep, and this is not a reference to the weather, but as Nathan rightly points out, they're swimming against the tide, Partick Thistle, because clubs like St Johnstone, Ayr United, Dunfermline, I would imagine they all have far bigger budgets than Partick Thistle, but the job, I know he's the butt of the jokes in here, but the job that Mark Wilson has done has been first class. And to touch on Nathan's other point about the size of the travelling support for Partick Thistle, Falkirk took 1,700 people to Livingston during the week. The crowds are amazing throughout the higher echelons of Scottish football, the Premiership and the Championship. The crowds are terrific.
I think Nathan is right, though, Roger, about trying to do what they can on that budget. And in the context of the title race, you look at what St Johnstone have gone out and done during that window to get Josh Fowler, one of the better strikers in the Championship, to just go to the team at the bottom of the Championship in Queen's Park and get him, to get Alfredo Aguiman on loan from Falkirk. They also added Rory Payton, was it?
From Port Vale.
Three serious attacking options at Championship level that I'm absolutely certain Mark Wilson and Alex Ray would have liked to have the option of bringing in.
Well, they were close to getting Aguiman before they were gazumped at the last minute by St Johnstone's money. Hugh's right, in terms of budgets, Thistle should be probably mid-table in the Championship. They're punching above their weight. They've done well in the loan market. Nathan mentioned some of the Celtic lads that have come in loan, but if you look at Fraser Taylor, who's injured today, Ocean Smith, who scored the 2 goals at Perth, they've been astute loan signings as well. Even if they can't get past St Johnstone and finish first in that league, they will fancy their chances in the promotion playoffs. For me, they're a step ahead of the likes of Arbroath or Ayr, who sit 3rd and 4th in the table just now. And would they fancy their chances with a Kilmarnock? You never know.
Anyway, thank you to Nathan, a Partick Thistle fan who didn't make it to Elgin, but is happy to hear they are 1-0 up in the Scottish Cup. No other goals to tell you about in our featured matches as of yet. You've got a first half teaser up and running. Why don't we visit that, Hugh Keevins?
Yep, in light of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's proposed move to Celtic, can you tell me who were the last 7 players to have signed for an Old Firm club after making at least 10 appearances for Liverpool?
At Clyde SSB, let's do some wrong answers. What about Stefan Onshaw?
Well, that's the one wrong answer that Roger Hannah had.
And you know what? He missed out by about 3 days.
Is that right?
On this list. So he is not one of them, but it's a popular wrong answer. Loads of people getting fairly close on this. Davey has got it round the wrong way though, Hugh. He's gone for Virgil van Dijk.
No.
So of course Virgil van Dijk went from Celtic to Southampton and then to Liverpool, so he is absolutely not there. What else have we got in terms of wrong answers to help you along the way? Jim Ban has got a few right, but then he's gone for one I think that will definitely be out with the time frame. Graham Souness?
No.
Okay. And from Greg Dunlop, what about Charlie Adam?
No.
Okay, keep your guesses coming then.
Roger, Graham Souness's debut for Rangers, that was lively.
Hibs, was it?
40 years ago.
Yeah.
August 1986.
40 years ago?
Yeah.
It was a 21-man bust-up after the challenge in George McCluskey. He didn't mean to kick George McCluskey. He wanted to kick Stuart Beattie and get them mixed up because he just arrived in the Scottish Premier League and didn't know all the players. It finished up, I think, with an SFA inquiry.
Yep.
Where all 21, with the notable exception of Ruffy, who was the Hibs goalkeeper,
who couldn't be bothered running
to halfway.
Yeah.
The 21 of them all got bookings by the SFA. The PFA Scotland of the day, long before Fraser Wishard's day, got involved and managed to get 2 of the bookings rescinded for the 2 players who were unconscious on the floor.
40 years.
Who was the Fraser Wishart of that era, I wonder?
Tony Higgins, was it?
Tony Higgins.
As far back as that, though, I know that was before.
It may well have been. I know Hibs were represented by Steve Cowan, who actually scored the winning goal that day for Hibs and was the representative of Hibs on the Union at the time.
I'm sure Fraser will be...
I'll be typing as we speak.
Telling me right now who it would be. Yeah. What did you say, 1980?
86, August 86.
It was Tony Higgins, says Fraser Wishart. So there
86, where was I in 86? What team did I play for in 86?
Still at Rangers?
No, I left there, went to City.
Well, Man City then?
No, I might be round about my dumper truck days.
The Stirling years?
I might be first part.
Do you mean your dumper truck days?
That's what I done when I was out of football.
I thought it was a cement mixer.
No, that was when I started. I built the Mitchell Library.
No, 84 to 86 was your ill-fated Partick Thistle spell.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Googled you. There's something I never wanted to do in my life was Google you.
I couldn't have told you. I must have went to Wraith the Fallen year then, 87.
How can you not know this?
No, you didn't go to Wraith in 87.
He did. Yeah.
And you were still there in 94.
Right, this is the worst episode of This Is Your Life ever. Let's move on. The phone lines are open, and you can also tweet us at Clyde SSB. We've got a first half teaser up and running for you as well.
I know why this man sitting in the middle's in today.
Who, Roger
No
Hannah?
bigger game than tomorrow night.
I'm getting to that, don't you worry.
Oh,
I've got that tucked right up my sleeve.
No better game. The Hawks.
What about
Is it the Hawks?
Are you referring to the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah. Well, I'm correct, ain't I?
Do you remember on this equivalent show last year you were out at a ground and I gave you, was it 30 seconds or 60 seconds?
The Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs.
To do a 1 minute explainer to Gordon Dale and everyone else about the significance of the Super Bowl, and it was all around Taylor Swift, etc.
Kelsey.
Do you think you could do that on the spot this year?
Listen,
so I haven't given you any warning of this.
We'll have a go.
Producer Ryan's one of those NFL weirdos as well. But can I get some dramatic music or something? Something I can play.
You need to put some Bad Bunny on because he's doing the halftime.
I knew Bad Bunny was doing that.
You expect me to turn to Hugh Keevins, one of the most long-running and established broadcasters in this country, and ask for his thoughts on Bad Bunny?
Listen, I'm sure Hugh was watching the Grammys the other night when the great man was honoured.
No, I know Bugs Bunny.
I know Bad Bunny's doing the half-time, but who is? What is he a singer?
Yes.
Do you think he's like a magician or something?
Yeah, it could be. What kind of music?
How would you describe it, Gordon? Hispanic rap.
Oh, did I strike you as a Bad Bunny fan?
The final is taking place in San Francisco. In honour of San Francisco, you have to play Tony Bennett, I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
Not a bad shout from you, Hugh Keevins.
I do know Charlie Puch is doing the national anthem.
Who?
Charlie, is it Puch? Is it Puch or something? Checo Puch? Is that correct?
The host of the show has gone for him.
I knew that this show was going to be a nightmare today when we had so few games.
Is it?
Is it not Puth?
Is it Puth?
Yes.
Sorry, I thought it was Puch.
I don't know why the Educational Institute of Scotland don't raise a complaint against him.
Yeah, at the Levi Stadium. Is it a Levi
That's
Stadium?
exactly in Santa Clara, home of the San Francisco 49ers.
California, I've been there.
Hold on, don't steal his big moment. He's about to give us his explainer once I get some nice dramatic music.
Sorry. And tell us who's your
the San
favourite
Francisco
and what
music.
you think the score will be.
Okay, Doc, I'll give you that as well.
We can get to that. Let me just double check it. Well, I've never played a goal flash sting for a League 2 game before. Let's do it.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Edinburgh City 0, East Kilbride 1. Bobby McCluckey. It's a great ball over the top, and he scores after his first shot is saved. So he gets a second bite at it, does Bobby McCluckey. And just past the half hour mark, it was John Robertson, arguably one of the standout players in League 2 this season. He has put the ball over the top, and McCluckey has scored it. So there we go. You can't really beat the romance of the cup. You know, they always talk about that, and people say, well, what does it mean? What exactly are you referring to when you talk about the romance of the cup? Well, Fraser Wishart's got a great submission 30 minutes into Graham Carey's Dunfermline debut. There is a fan next to him who's screaming, Lenny, get him off, he's
After 30 minutes?
30 minutes of your debut. That's
Well, you see, we don't live in a generation where you get time.
No.
We watch Celtic hire and then fire a manager in 33 days.
30 minutes is fine, really, for a player when you think about it.
I would have given them half of that.
Right, keep your guesses coming on that first half teaser. No other goals to tell you about in Scotland. I've got English Premier League games today, just if there's anything that really jumps
Not
out.
very much happened there either. Chelsea are 1-0 up against the Wolves, as Alec would say. His old club.
No, Wolves, he calls them. Wolves. Did Man United win early? Did they beat
2-0,
Tottenham in the end?
2-0, yep.
2-0, he's flying.
Thomas Frank will be up the road shortly, and Michael Carrick. How can the Man United not give him the job?
It's weird to think of them as a serious force again. It's been so long. Does that mean that Dafty's going to cut his hair soon? The guy that's not cutting it until they win 5?
I'm
or
sure
is that one more game?
One more game. I thought I heard today it was 2 games, so the one today.
I'm actually disappointed myself for bringing that up.
Why?
I just think we should be above that, but it's too late. It's live radio. These things just come out your mouth before.
I've not seen the length of his hair. Is it really long?
Well, obviously. It's like Hugh Keevins, who's not shaving his moustache until we leave this building.
Every time now I come in and have a look at that, that's not even grown.
No, it is. It's got a wee bit of extra fur on it compared to last week.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Mrs. Keevins told me this morning I look daft.
It's not dark, obviously. It's white because he's a gentleman of a certain vintage. That's what's making you think it's not growing.
That's why she told me I look daft. But I will persevere.
So, reiterate for anyone who missed this huge revelation, Clyde won after many decades is leaving Clydebank in the spring. Date to be confirmed, and you are going to grow your moustache until then.
I walked in here on April 1985, and I'm walking out of here to go to Queen Street in 2026. I came in with a moustache, I'm leaving with a moustache.
Yeah. Well, you're
Why not?
still listen, I wouldn't go too quickly there walking out. Maybe carrying
you get a bet on me.
Right, we've got the NFL theme tune for you.
Here we
Is
go.
that enough for you? Right, because
more than enough.
I'm not going to lie, I don't care
He's
that much.
excited.
I don't care about the Super Bowl. Do you know how much of this weekend I'm going to dedicate to the Super Bowl? The next 30 seconds from you. So everything I need to know.
You're not coming around tomorrow night for the party, no?
Well, listen, there's every chance my children will have me up all night anyway, so I could well do that. But you ready?
Go for it.
The significance of the Super Bowl, according to Roger Hannah, go.
It's probably the most watched sporting event of the year, even ahead of the World Cup final in the United States in the summer. It's between Seattle Seahawks, who are the NFC champions. It's like they're against the New England Patriots, the AFC champions. They meet in Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. They had identical records in the normal season of 14 wins and 3 defeats, and they both come in after phenomenal seasons. The Seahawks are in their first Super Bowl in 12 years. They've got Mike McDonald in charge. They've got Sam Darnold at quarterback. They will be favourites. They will win the game against the Patriots side, who have had an incredible season. They only won 4 games last season, 4 games the season before. They've won 14 under Mike Vrabel in his first season. He was part of the greatest ever Patriots team, a teammate of Tom Brady when they won 6 Super Bowls. No one has won more. If they win tomorrow night, it will be a record. They'll eclipse the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, as you know, is producer Chris's team. That's once a score prediction. I will go 30-18 for the Seahawks.
Somebody wake Gordon DL up.
That was good.
Are you impressed with that?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
I don't think it was as good as last year, but it was good nevertheless.
I've never claimed to watch the Super Bowl.
Less star quality this year in the game.
Is it not as exciting?
It'll be more one-sided. It should have been close last year and actually wasn't, because the Eagles ran away with it against Travis Kelce and the Patriots.
Can we go back to the highest grounds above sea level?
So I don't care that much. Hugh Keevins cares even less. So tell him something important. You said the New England Patriots. What's significant about their stadium?
That is where Scotland will play 2 of their games at the World Cup.
Very
Foxborough,
good.
Massachusetts.
Are you happy with that?
They take
Is
on
that a good
Morocco
link?
and Haiti.
They might play there, but there's a row going on over
don't
who
start.
pays for the security of the stadium for those matches. So Scotland might not be going to Boston.
I'll have a word with Mike Vrabel and Drake May. Will get it all sorted.
Have a word with Infantino.
Let's go back to the phones where Paul is on. Hi, Paul.
Hey, hi Gordon, hi guys.
What are you thinking today, Paul?
I've been listening to over the last couple of nights, and obviously with Celtic, the proposed move that Oxlade-Chamberlain came in. Now, that'll be the kind of sixth guy coming in. Don't know what the other five. Well, we know what two are like. The first two loans have went okay. We don't know what the next three are going to be like. I'm like everybody else. I'm not happy with the board. I'm not happy with all this money in the bank. No investment in the team in the stadium. We're not a business to look at that. I think everything we make, we should be trying to make things as great as possible. We know that's going on. It's unsettled with the manager. The Oxlade-Chamberlain move that happens, it seems to have rattled a few Rangers supporters' cages. I've got a lot of comments. What are they bothered about? I mean, is it the kind of equivalent of when Rangers signed Jermaine Defoe? I don't know. Rangers signed him. I thought I wouldn't mind having him myself. I know he'll not be totally fit, but over the last couple of days, I don't really get what they're bothered about. They seem to be getting their house in order and doing well, spending money. I don't know, spending a lot of money.
I think quite simply, Paul, they want to ridicule the move. That's what they want to do.
But why? I don't.
Because they think the Rangers supporters who have called here, I can't speak for it, Rangers supporters, but the caller last night, for example, began his call by saying, I'm not bothered about Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then his voice got higher and higher the longer the call went on.
It sounded a wee bit bothered by the end.
Oh yeah, very much so.
I would say.
But they are looking at their own transfer business. They're looking at transfer business that Celtic have done, and as you rightly say, Paul, Schwanchara and Dorojo have been terrific, but they're looking at others who have come in and they're not impressed. And with regard to Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think it's purely and simply an attempt to deride the move.
Paul, I need to tell you about some goals, so very quickly, based on what you said at the start, does that mean you back a boycott today and you either will take part in it or you would if you were going to the game normally?
No, I'm 100% taking part in it. 100%. I bought my tickets, but I'm not going.
There we go. Thank you very much to Paul. Anyone else out there with that same or a differing view? I've got some of these to tell you about first.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Big one in the cup. It's an equaliser for Elgin City. Elgin City 1, Partick Thistle 1. Ryan Sargent on 39 minutes. Jack McKeever's corner scramble in the 6-yard box, and Sargent bundles it over the line in the game that Roger Hannah said Elgin City would never get back into. It is level 5 minutes before the break, and I did say we've got a nice novelty of giving you some League 2 action today.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Edinburgh City 0, East Kilbride 2, and it's a double for Bobby McCluckey. It's a great move, David Field says, a chip to the back post and a header. He is impressed with what he's getting treated to down in League 2 today.
Tell me, there's still a running track round?
Oh, very much so.
Are they? And it's a grass
David
pitch
Field's
still,
taking his binoculars. Astro.
Just before we leave Paul's call behind and the points that he was making there, his last remark was that he had his tickets, plural. Now, even if it's only 2, I would imagine that 2 tickets for a Celtic home game in the Cup will come in at what, Roger, £60, £70? So he's actually willing to forego £60 or £70 rather than attend the match. This is the kind of thing that Brian Wilson and the Celtic board are going to have to address quickly.
Let's bring in Laurie, who's also a Celtic fan. Laurie, are you going today? Are you staying away? Had you no plans to go anyway? Give us your story.
I am a member of the the Home Cup ticket scheme, Gordon, so I will be in attendance at the game. I won't decry or denounce anybody who opts not to go. That's entirely their prerogative. I'm hopeful that Brian Wilson will be able to reconcile the different factions at Celtic Park, because we do need the Green Brigade back in the ground for atmosphere. This has been a season, like no other, Gordon, from what I can remember, like you, I'm a septuagenarian. It's been a bizarre season. We've had Wilfred Nancy in, who did for Celtic what Luciano Pavarotti would have done for hang gliding. Where Hugh's concerned, Hugh has, on 3 separate occasions, initially he predicted Celtic would win the league. He then said that Hearts were champions-elect. He's now said a few minutes ago that Rangers will win the league with something to spare. To use gambling nomenclature, I think that I'll hold with Celtic, my original choice. Hugh has twisted more often this season than a high roller in casinos at Monte Carlo or Las Vegas.
It's a fair point. You've backed all three in the three-horse race at one point.
Listen, go back to my learned friend Roger Hannah, who said at 1-0 Partick Thistle they're not coming back, and Elgin have come back. Over the course of a season, we're asked, Laurie, for our prediction before a ball is kicked. 38 games have to be played, and we're asked to predict the outcome of what will happen after 38 football matches. So the pre-season predictions are just a guess. At one point it looked as if Hearts could be champions-elect, but my money is now on Rangers. That's what happens. The season goes on,
but
things happen.
So does that mean, though, that you could change again?
2 weeks before end of season.
No, because I'm now in print in the Sunday Mail as having said I think Rangers will win the league.
Did you never print Hearts champions-elect?
No.
I'd need to check the archives.
But anyway, I mean, it's all right for everybody else to laugh. People do change their mind on the evidence of what is going on. And I would submit, Laurie, that what's going on at Celtic is inadequate compared to what's going on at the team across the road on the other side of the city. And that's why people are unhappy, and that's why there is talk of a boycott, Laurie.
He's not happy with you laughing at him.
Who? Laurie?
No, Hugh.
Oh, Hugh. Oh, listen, I've worked with this guy long enough. Give it another couple of weeks, they'll be away with our team. See, Mother will beat Rangers. It'll be Motherwell champions elect.
I don't think I'm looking at a man of resolute will when I look at you.
But I don't got them down the league table dependence where they're sitting.
Yes, you do.
No, I do not. I went for Celtic at the beginning of the season, and the only other thing I would probably flip was I think Rangers in a strong position.
You said
25th of October 2025 in the Daily Record, Hearts are everything Celtic aren't, so put the lot on the champions elect.
They're a print.
Unbelievable.
The
there we
Daily
go.
Record, I look right for the Daily Record.
On the Daily Record website, don't you try and wriggle out of this. Here's a goal to tell you about.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
To be fair, that was months ago. That was before Halloween. We've got a goal up in Elgin, and it will settle the nerves again of Partick Thistle. There was a penalty just before the break. Tony Watt has stuck it away, and it's Elgin City 1, Partick 2. Thank you to Laurie. We're about to get the half-time stories. Nobody is on the podium yet for the teaser, which means we need to do some assisting. Give us your question, please.
In honour of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's proposed move to Celtic, tell me the last 7 players to have signed for an Old Firm club after making at least 10 appearances for Liverpool.
At Clyde SSB, loads of people are getting 6 and not 7. One of the most common wrong answers is Ovi Ojaria.
Yeah.
He didn't make enough appearances. I think it was 8 for Liverpool. So reassess your lists. At Clyde SSB, come on, we need to get that podium filled. Nobody is on it yet. I do have breaking news for you though, and it is that Celtic have announced the signing of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. He has joined the club on a contract until the summer with an option for a further year, as of course they always say subject to international clearance, which I don't really know when that becomes a sticking point. It always gets cleared internationally, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is now a Celtic player, Hugh.
Well, how long before he makes his Celtic debut? They've got a Livingston home game on Wednesday. I wonder if that might be his chance. If he has been training with Arsenal, then he has fitness of a certain quality. He doesn't have match fitness, that's obvious. But a home game against Livingston,
probably come off the bench. Yeah.
Well, but that's enough to generate great interest in Oxlade-Chamberlain Wednesday night, a game that doesn't exactly smack of box office.
Come on then, Celtic fans. We said we'd opened the phones nice and early today for various reasons, but that seems like a good one. You have confirmed the signing of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Is that one you're happy with or not? Let us know right now, please, on 01419511025. Half-time whistles are going in our featured matches. Let's go to the Scottish Cup tie between Elgin City and Partick Thistle. Here's Alison McConnell.
Yeah, Thistle in control here going into the break, but they know that they're in a game here at Boroughbriggs. Ryan Sargent cancelled out Robbie Crawford's opener 5 minutes before the break. before Tony Watt then restored the Jags' advantage from the spot just on the cusp of that half-time whistle. Elgin, they had a couple of half chances in the opening stages. Kane Hester tried his luck with a fairly speculative long-range effort that was never going to trouble Josh Clark, and a few minutes later he went in his own when the better option would have been to cut it back to Sargent in the 6-yard box. It was Thistle though, they settled down, they took the lead. Watt, the architect of the goal, a fantastic drive and run down the left channel before he came into the box. His first shot was blocked, he collected the rebound, rolled the ball to Crawford. His right foot effort from about 10 yards, it might have taken a nick off an Elgin player before heading into the back of the net, but at that stage I think Thistle were just relieved to take the goal and take a wee bit of control in the game. Like as Roger said, I thought that Elgin would have faded if Thistle scored first, but to their credit they stuck at it. Sargent caused a few flutters for Clark. He had an effort that seemed to just squirm off the gloves of the goalkeeper before he claimed it at the second attempt. Ben Stanaway might have made life a wee bit more comfortable for Thistle. He let fly with an effort that sneaked just wide of the post, but then Jack McIver's corner for Elgin, it came in, it caused absolute havoc for Thistle inside the 6-yard box. They failed to clear their lines, a mad scramble ensued, and then Sargent just seemed to get the final touch to prod the ball over the line. At the other end then Watt turned up, converted from the spot after Alex Samuel had just been upended in the box. So Thistle in front, but certainly all to play for here in Elgin. I think Elgin given a fantastic account of themselves so far, and with just one goal in it they'll fancy themselves as maybe coming back into it.
Looking forward to finding out what happens in the second half. I think the other half-time whistles have gone as well. Dunfermline against Kelty in the Scottish Cup. Fraser?
Yeah, Dunfermline 0, Kelty Hearts 0. A few boos at half-time from the home side support, because it's really been a struggle for Dunfermline. They've been really poor so far, not the high tempo performance of the last round. In fact, Kyle Gourley in the Kelty goal has a little to do with one meaningful save early on from Callum Morrison. Although Dunfermline did start well and the signs were good in the first few minutes, they really pushed Kelty back into their own box. Pars unable to make anything of 3 early corners, but Kelty looked really nervy at the back in the first 10 minutes. But then the way side had the first chance of the game. It was Pettifer with the corner and Wiley headed about a yard wide, and that seemed to settle the young Kelty side, although a spell then from Dunfermline. Callum Morrison ran into the box, low shot across the goalkeeper, saved well by Gourley with his feet. Abdullahi then saw his header just drift a yard wide, but Kelty just began to grow in confidence. Luke McCarville shot straight at Tyrrell. It was a weak effort in a good position inside the box. Then Lewis Moore, lovely turn inside the box, he was denied by a brilliant tackle by Abdullahi just as he was about to shoot from about 6 yards. Neil Lennon becoming a bit agitated with the lacklustre display. Kelty just very comfortable at the back, and then putting the ball in behind the Pars defence at every opportunity. In fact, Billy Tyrrell, the Dunfermline goalkeepers, forced him out of his box on about half a dozen occasions to clear a tactic that Kelty have used so far, and it's been really good and caused Dunfermline problems. Rudden went off injured. Andrew Todd came on, a great applause from home support. He's a real favourite, and he has made a difference. He's been a bit more of a threat left wing back. Robbie Fraser drove into the box but shot over the bar, but chances few and far between for the home side. And it was actually Kelty that almost took the lead just before the break. It was Aaron Arnott, midfield player, just found space in the box, good shot across the goalkeeper who was at full stretch. I think he was worried it was going to go into the far post, but it drifted just a yard wide. Kelty take all the plaudits so far. They've finally been much better in the second half if they're not to be on the end of a cup defeat here. So far it's been a really poor performance by the home side. Half time Dunfermline 0, Kelty Hearts 0.
And we do have a featured League 2 match today. David Friel is watching Edinburgh City against East Kilbride.
Yeah, and it's Edinburgh City 0, East Kilbride 2. Really good game this, Gordon. Both teams playing a lot of good football, some good players on show. Bobby McCluckie being one of them. He's been the main man for East Kilbride. He's on loan from Hearts, and he's back in the capital today with his loan club, and he's made his mark with 2 first half goals. Mick Kennedy said they really come on strong last 15 minutes. They've been very good, and they're on course to cut the gap at the top of the table to just 3 points on Spartans. Joe Baldy had a chance opening minute, didn't get his shot away. Edinburgh City then dominated a lot of the possession. They're easy in the eye, but they weren't really troubling East Kilbride defence. Baldy then had a weak shot saved before City created a really, really good chance. Cole Williams running cross picked out Ollie McDonald, but he headed wide from close range. East Kilbride, as I said, just started to come in, taking a midway through the half. Cammy Elliott had a shot blocked, and then he took the lead in 32 minutes through McCluckie. John Robertson, you mentioned him earlier, he's been one of the standout players in the league. He's so dangerous on that left foot coming in from the right, and he kind of whipped a ball right over the top of the defence. It caught the Edinburgh City defence out. Bobby McCluckie was on it in a flash. His first shot was saved by Mark Weir, but followed up to make it 1-0, and then he made it 2-0 before the break. Another great move, instigated again by Robertson. Cammy Elliott chipped the ball at the back post, and there was young Bobby McCluckie to head in to make it 2-0. So East Kilbride look good for 3 points as things stand. Half time, Edinburgh City 0, East Kilbride 2.
That's your first half reports. There's still nobody on the podium with all of these correct answers, so I'm going to dish out some clues and I'll then give you the duration of the ad break to get your act together. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has signed for Celtic, who are the previous 7 to sign for an Old Firm club after making at least 10 appearances for Liverpool. You need to get these quickly. Let's see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are former Celtic, 3 are former Rangers, and they range from 2023. There was a defender who did it, a Celtic defender in 2023, all the way back to a Celtic striker in 2005. Let's see if we can do it before the end of this break.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. We've got a couple of featured games for you in the Scottish Cup and one in League 2, but we're not too far away from building up to kick-off at Celtic Park, where there has been news. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is now a Celtic player. Because it's a bit of a different Saturday, we've opened the phone lines early, so that feels like the perfect topic for you to get stuck into. What do you make of the signing? Now that it's confirmed, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is a Celtic player. 01419511025. In the meantime, Hugh Keevins, let's do this.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
As you say, Gordon, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is now a Celtic player. In his honour, can you tell me the last 7 players to have signed for an Old Firm club after making at least 10 appearances for Liverpool? They are Nat Phillips, who made 29 appearances and went to Rangers. Shea Ojo, 13 appearances for Liverpool, went to Rangers. John Flanagan, 51 appearances at Anfield, went to Rangers. El Hadj Diouf, 80 appearances for Liverpool, went to Rangers. And then we had Craig Bellamy, 79 appearances for Liverpool, went to Celtic. Robbie Keane, 28 appearances for Liverpool, went to Celtic. And finally, Kolo Toure, 71 appearances for Liverpool and went to Celtic.
There we go, well done if you got it right. Thank you for taking part, even if you were hopeless. It's all about taking part on a Saturday afternoon. In second place was Michael Donati. We didn't even have a third place. That's how tricky the question was. And the winner of the first half teaser was indeed Danielle McNamara. So well done, Danielle. And we'll get a good Who Am I up and running for you very, very soon. But the phone lines are open nice and early today. 01419511025. We've got our games that kicked off at 3, and we're going to build up to Celtic Park very soon as well. Let's go back. No, in fact we can't. We're already underway, I think, in those 3 o'clock games. I thought we might have some breathing space, but we are getting underway. What was Fraser Wishart's score again last week?
0-0.
Oh, are you worried for him?
I'm always worried for Fraser.
Dunfermline Kelty.
Yeah, I think fans start to worry when they see him turning up. He's got 0-0 written all over him. He wasn't entertaining as a player, and he's certainly not entertaining as a pundit.
Honestly, he's scathing. Absolutely.
It's a tough audience in here on a Saturday afternoon.
It really is. I don't think Neil Lennon will be too happy, Roger, if his team make heavy weather of this, given that they managed to knock Hibs out in the previous round.
A man who has won the Scottish Cup no fewer than 8 times, 4 as a player, 4 as a manager. He presided over the shock of the last round when Dunfermline beat Hibs at East End Park. They are taking on a team from a division below them, a team that has been racked by injuries, suspensions. They can't even play Sam Fisher, who I think's on loan from Dunfermline, isn't allowed to play against his parent club. Tam O'Ware was patching together the Kelty Hearts side, as Fraser said at the top of the show. If they shock Dunfermline, Neil Lennon will be the angriest man in Fife this evening.
A team from a division lower than them who are bottom of that division.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be a real shocker.
I did say the phone lines were open. I said it was a quiet Saturday. How quiet would it need to be on here for me to, with a straight face, say Is Gregor Townsend still the man to take Scotland forward? Give us a call. They've just lost in Rome in the opener of the Six
idea
Nations.
Will be to drop him off at Newcastle on the way back from Rome to Edinburgh, because Gregor Townsend, he might get the other 4 games in this championship, but he is done as a Scotland coach. He's already working part-time with Red Bull. If you work part-time with somebody, you're not working full-time with somebody else. Sorry?
Selling the cans.
Something like that does, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Scotland team manager.
There was a story through the week. He's already committed to signing for Newcastle to join them after the next World Cup. I think he's probably run out of time. I think Scottish rugby needs a change at the top.
Dale, your thoughts on the opening day defeat in Rome?
Yeah, listen,
hold on, just sorry
all
to
away
interrupt.
Games in Europe are hard.
Given that you just during the break asked Roger Hannah if Kenny Logan still played.
No, I didn't mention Kenny. I mentioned Logan because there's always a Logan plays for Scotland. I've lost all touch with my Scottish international rugby. Obviously I'm a big fan of the Warriors just down the road there. Brilliant game that night. Was it Toulouse?
You know he gambled in the back 3 today, don't you? You know, no Van der Merwe.
I must strenuously object to any further discussion of rugby on this programme.
I think we've reached our capacity.
Yeah. It's a low moment in this programme's history.
Oh, I've had a few today. 01419511025. Keep the calls coming. We're going to go and build up to the game at Celtic Park very soon as well. And of course, we'll give you a second half teaser when the time is right. Let's squeeze a call in first with Charlie. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, how you doing, panel?
Good, how are you?
It's about the Oxlade-Chamberlain signing. I think it'd be a good signing to replace Rio Hatate, because he's been missing all season. He's not kicked a ball for Celtic. So, with the links with him going to Brazil, let him go. I'll take him at the airport.
I've heard this so often. I'll take him to the airport. I mean, no credit given to what Rio Hatate's done for Celtic in his time there. And absolutely no way of knowing, Charlie, if Oxlade-Chamberlain will be able to in any way replicate the kind of form he had as a Southampton, Arsenal and Liverpool player. So I think you're unfair on Rio Hatate, and give Oxlade-Chamberlain a chance to see what he can do first of all before you start driving folk to the airport.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not going that far. I think Hatate's a fantastic footballer, but he's not had the greatest of seasons. There's no doubt about that. But you're right, Hugh. We've got to wait till these players at least get a few games under our belt before we start judging whether they're good, bad or indifferent. We know one thing. He's coming with a good pedigree.
Yes, and I'm the one that always urges that, but at the same time I think everybody's allowed to say if they think he'll be a good signing or not.
I know,
because equally somebody might phone in and say they think he's going to be a bad signing.
But there's no evidence on that.
But that's like anything, Gordon. It's like before a football game starts and I say, who do you think is going to win, and you just tell me and you back up your case. It's not deep to say I think he'll be a good signing or a bad signing.
I agree with you. However, is there always this need
to drive someone to the airport,
to run down another player? Well, Charlie, a Celtic fan, has presumably enjoyed great games that Rio Hatate has played. I know it's endemic in the city of Glasgow, but
so you think he goes above Rio Hatate in the kind of midfield pecking order, Charlie?
No, straight away, no. As you say, it's a gamble, but every single signing's a gamble. Do you know what I mean? There's players came up here, big stars, and they can't live with Celtic Rangers because of the pressures. He's got that as well to face. But in regards to Rio Hatate, I've loved Rio Hatate being at Celtic, but he's playing there now as if he doesn't want to be there. I've watched him in few games. He's not chasing back. He's not the Rio Hatate he was. So I don't think he wants to be there at the moment.
So it's not a loss of form on the part of Rio Hatate. He's working his ticket.
Basically, because his contract will be running out.
But Charlie, surely if you're working your ticket, that's when your form's really high. If you're looking at other clubs to come in and take you, demand the money that you're going to do for your contract, you want to be doing that in form. You don't want to be doing that having a bad season.
Yeah, but we've seen it loads of times.
Yeah, but you're not wanting your ticket.
Players.
You're just in a bad bit of form.
You think that's all it is for Reo Hatate? It's no coincidence that it seems to be him and Maeda, and they've been there a while, and things have maybe gone.
Look, there's no doubt, Gordon, I think they would like a fresh challenge, but I don't think they're going out there to deliberately work their ticket, as Charlie says. Yes, admittedly, I think the two players you mentioned, with the sort of ability they've got, haven't been up to it this season. Of course they haven't, but I don't think they're working their ticket.
I think it'll be a huge change in the summer, and I think Hatate and Maeda will both go. I think you'll see the biggest change in personnel at Celtic Park since the summer when Ange Postecoglou came in and everybody went out and everybody new came in. They'll just, the winter window, 6 loan signings. I know you said Oxlade-Chamberlain's got the option to stay on. I think Mvuka's got the option to stay on as well. We don't know whether any of them will stay on, but you do begin to think the likes of Maeda and Hatate, as Charlie says, Celtic have seen the best of them. I think they may move on to pastures new in the summer.
I do not dispute that, Roger. However, it's this assumption that Charlie knows what's going on in the minds of these players and that they are working their ticket out of Celtic Park.
You said that's what he thinks is happening. That's really is fine. That's what we're here for. He can say he thinks that's the case. You two can say they think it's not the case. Does this, Roger, the question of how successful Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain will be depends how you frame it. Where I think Charlie's onto something is, what is he? What's he here for? What's the hope? Is he here to start every game and be Celtic's main man? Because if so, then that's a higher bar, and that's where the signing looks like more of a risk. Is he here to be back up to the guys that already play in midfield, maybe come on for a bit, maybe add a bit of stardust if he can rediscover? If that's the case, that bar is lower and the signing is less of a risk.
And like all of the 6 guys who have come in loan in the winter window, if they can help Celtic over the line to win the league title, the whole window will have been declared a success. Vanchara's already looked okay. Arroyo looks as if he's the first choice right back ahead of Donovan or Ralston. If Oxlade-Chamberlain can play 10 or a dozen games between now and the end of the season and Celtic win the league, I think that will be declared a success by Celtic supporters.
Thank you to Charlie on the line on 01419511025. You can tweet us as well at Clyde SSB. Fraser Wishart's still watching. Dunfermline 0, Kelty 0, Elgin City 1, Partick Thistle 2 is the other cup game. We've got one featured game in League 2 just to shine a light on one of our local sides in East Kilbride. They're 2-0 up away at Edinburgh City and pushing for a third. They've had a penalty claim turned away. John Robertson's had a volley saved as well, and we are about an hour and 15 minutes away from kick-off at Celtic Park. That means we can't be far away at all from team news, so Gabriel will give us that. But the big news actually coming out of Celtic is more about signings than anything, and it is the acquisition of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So that's been confirmed now. We've been speaking about it in a sort of hypothetical sense over the last couple of days, but it is confirmed. I imagine he goes to the game today, or maybe not. Maybe he's back down the road to pick up his boots, which must be a more difficult process than you imagine. Did you see Benjamin Arthur when he signed? He had to get his photos taken with a full Celtic strip and these big massive trainers on. I don't know if he didn't have boots his size, or he hadn't brought his boots, or...
Sure, that club have got...
I know, but look at the picture. Big chunky black trainers that he had on for his signing picture.
Stephen Presley spoke warmly of him through the week, knows him from the Brentford.
Warmly?
Yeah.
He likened him to Virgil van Dijk.
Absolutely.
That's roasting.
I couldn't agree more. So that has cranked up the expectation. Interesting to see how many, if any, of the late window signings are involved tonight. Because I know Martin O'Neill's spoken about rotation and resting a couple. This is not a game that Celtic can take with any degree of triviality.
When he was 2 rows in front of me in the flight up from London, Benjamin Arthur, he had a couple of bags with him. I just assumed
the boots were in there.
The boots would have been in there.
What intrigues me, Roger, is that Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney said that Martin O'Neill had the last say, the final say on who came in. Can he know anything about Adamu or Mvuka, really? I mean, I'm just intrigued by the whole business.
You work in conjunction with your recruitment staff, don't you? I know this sounds patronised, but it's a big old football world now where we've spoken with someone, look how successful you can get players from Japan or wherever. I don't think Martin O'Neill knew who Mvuka was necessarily before, but he surely will now. That's the whole point of the analysis department, the recruitment staff.
I think Celtic supporters must already be worrying about next season, because, as Roger said, that the turnover in personnel is going to be massive, and you would definitely keep Ravancha up front, and you would definitely keep Orojo at the back if you could manage it. And Orojo has spoken positively about staying at Celtic Park, but I'm not sure if anybody else stays.
I liked his style yesterday. He did the press conference. He was asked this a couple of weeks ago, but someone repeated it. Can you tell us how to pronounce your name properly?
Yeah.
And he said, in Spanish or English? He said, well, whatever you want. And he said, well, Julian Araujo or Julian Araujo, if you would rather. So
you've got to go Spanish.
You can take your pick. We do have team news at Celtic Park. Gabriel, what are we expecting to see today?
Yeah, Gordon, 5 changes for Celtic since that 2-0 win over Falkirk last weekend. Austin Trusty is back from suspension. Rea Hatate, Paulo Bernardo and William Sinisalo are all in, and it's a start for new boy Joel Mvuka. He is in that front three. So Schmeichel, Murray, Nygren, Engels and Maida are all out. There's no place for Benjamin Arthur, the new signing. Adamu is on the bench, and of course Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has just been announced, so he is not involved at all. The starting 11 looks like this: Sinisalo in goal, the defence of Julian Araujo, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, Kieran Tierney. Callum McGregor is at the base of midfield with Rea Hatate and Paulo Bernardo in front of him. Joel Mvuka and Yang are on the wings. Thomas Chvanchara leads the line. Substitutes: Duhan, Nygren, Adamu, McCowan, Tunekti, Sarachi, Murray, Forrest and Donovan.
Well, there we go, Roger Hannah. Plenty to dissect from that starting 11.
Yeah, very much so. A first start for Mvuka. It'll be interesting to see what side he plays, whether he starts on the right hand side, comes in onto that left foot. There looks to be, no disrespect to Stephen Predley, who we mentioned a moment ago, enough in that Celtic team to take them through to the last stage, you would think. Very unusual. Celtic have a squad with no Kasper Schmeichel in it, but it's another chance for Jami Sinisalo at the back behind what looks like Celtic's first choice back four at the minute. No Benjamin Arthur, as Gab said, and Sarachi on the bench as well. So that, you know, Celtic getting players back fit as well as the new signings.
This is Hatati's last game before he goes to the airport.
Been driven there, chauffeur driven. Again, in danger of just keeping repeating the same things, Hugh. We all acknowledge we have to wait and find out how good the signings are.
Yeah.
But you have to say, in a purely numbers game, that Celtic squad now does look a lot stronger. If we're talking about Sarachi being on the bench and some of the new signings not featuring yet, and Oxlade-Chamberlain to come into the mix, and it looks stronger certainly than it did.
It had to be that way because Martin O'Neill was the man who 3 weeks ago said there would be serious trouble. His 2 words: serious trouble, unless the squad was added to, and quickly. So arithmetically they're up to speed. Now we have to see what they do on the park, and this game is very, very important because in the current climate you really don't need the embarrassment of going out of the cup at home in the midst of all that's going on around you, with talk of boycotts and a 3-way race for the title and so on. You really can't be doing with going out of the cup to Dundee at home.
There was no Maeda anywhere in the squad, is that right? No Maeda and no Iheanacho as well.
So are we to assume that Iheanacho has fallen by the wayside again? Because you think he would be there involved because he's hardly done any game time.
Played, yeah, it would be interesting to see what the situation is with him. I agree with Rodgers. It's a strong enough side there. I think Dundee, you never know what you're getting off them. Sometimes Dundee can make it very, very difficult for you indeed. So they'll need to be at the top of their form to get into the next round of the Cup.
Okay, we'll revisit Celtic Park in the not too distant future. In fact, let's go back just once more quickly. Gabriel, is there any indication as to whether Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, the new signing, will be there?
Yeah, Gordon, we've not heard anything, but we know that he has been in Glasgow. Obviously got announced about, 30 minutes ago? So there is a chance he'll be brought out either before the game or at half-time, but not had anything firmed up yet. I'll let you know if I do. Quickly, just got the Dundee team in as well. I'll read it out for you. McCracken, Astley, Wright, Murray, Halliday, Yogan, Congreve, Danda, Graham, Cottrell, Hamilton. Substitutes, O'Hara, Ingram, Digby, Robertson, Samuels, Riley, Wright, Bevan and Jones.
Dundee looking to cause a bit of an upset there. We'll find out if they can. We'll go back to Celtic Park later. The phone lines are open early though. John is in Shettleston. Hi, John.
Hi guys, how are we?
Good, John. Good. What are you thinking?
It's just a bit of Oxlade-Chamberlain signing, right? To me, it just screams of Aaron Ramsey all over again. And then some other names to give you: Philip Senderos, Juninho, Joey Barton, Cranky. I mean, the list endless of players who play for big clubs down in England, did well, whatever, down in England. They go away somewhere abroad or whatever, and then they come up to Scotland and they just can't do it anymore. If Oxlade-Chamberlain was still any half of the player he was, there would have been a team in England who would have took him, and they would have paid him a small fortune again.
Is that not the point though, John? This keeps coming up. Obviously he's not the player he was, and that's why he's here. Why are people presenting that as if it's like a kind of gotcha on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Celtic? Surely we know the 35-time capped England international, hundreds of appearances for Liverpool and Arsenal. Surely we know he's not at that level anymore, and that's why we're even talking about him being here. Well, why are people pointing that out now?
I don't know. I'm pointing it out because, fair enough, he's all played for these clubs and whatever, but I'm saying just with past kind of judgments as it's been with players who have done that, who have come up here, they've been no good. Right? I'm not saying we'll give him a chance, we'll see how he gets on. We'll happily eat your words or whatever, but it just screams for me of the Aaron Ramsey one again. Nobody knows, right? I understand that, as you were saying, nobody knows, but I don't think it'll be a good one personally.
Aaron Ramsey, to be fair, went with Rangers to a European final.
Oh, you know what happened thereafter?
Yeah, Aaron Ramsey, again, to be fair, cost Rangers a European final. However, I think an earlier caller who said he wasn't going to the game today in spite of having bought his tickets, he mentioned the money in the bank. And you can't really get through a conversation about Celtic in the transfer window without mentioning the money in the bank. 6 loan signings with upwards of 80-90 million pounds in the bank. I think the Celtic supporters, and I don't know if John on the line would agree with me, but I think they were entitled to think that somewhere during the month of January there would have been a withdrawal from the bank, John.
But who signs off on a long-term contract when the manager's not going to be there next season and you don't have a head of football operations?
Yeah, but as you said, that the window opened on the 1st of January. I mean, you don't know that Wilfred Nancy at that point is going to come in and absolutely destroy the club.
I only lasted till what date in January? Wilfred Nancy?
I actually can't quite remember.
Well, the game against Rangers was what, the 3rd?
Yeah.
It was just after that. So, I think it's not impossible because Celtic claimed they were willing to spend money, but is it that surprising they didn't spend money when, like I say, it wasn't meant to be like a kind of hypothetical. Who signs off on a 4-year deal for a £10 million player just now?
There should be a football department there with a chief executive at the top of it.
But there isn't.
Yeah. But
what about helping Martin O'Neill out? Because you brought him in twice now on an interim basis.
That's what I'm saying. Who says these players don't help? It's not. I'm still trying to look for the answer. Who signs off on a 4-year deal for a £10 million player? I'm not trying to catch anybody out.
The chief executive would.
Right, but who picks that player?
I'll throw that forward then. We're all agreed probably that Martin O'Neill won't be the Celtic manager next season.
Correct.
When does Celtic begin the process of looking for next season's manager? And do they wait until the new man comes in on the 1st of June or the 1st of July and suddenly think, listen, we might need to get some players for this guy? Who do you new manager, who do you fancy to bring in?
Worse still, Roger, and I said this on SuperScoreBoard last night, Dermot Desmond and the board have forfeited the right to pick the next manager because they picked Wilfred Nancy.
But does it not, like, if Celtic were trying to build for the future right now and only sign loans, that wouldn't be a good way of going about it. But I assume they're not trying to build for the future.
They're trying to get to the end of the season.
Is the main question really, can they be good for you for the end of this season? Yes or no? And really the rest of it they just deal with another time.
Well, we'll know by the end of the season what the answer to that question is, Gordon. Obviously, I think a lot of Celtic fans are happy because they know that Martin O'Neill's not got to be the manager. They're not committing to loan players. They brought 5 in. But then you always have it, and Hugh's right, no matter what transfer window it is, Celtic fans know Celtic have got money, why aren't we spending?
And there's one on the line, so John's
a Rangers fan. You keep saying this.
He's a Rangers fan?
Yes.
Well, he never said that.
Yes, I don't know.
Because he's using his Aaron Ramsey experience.
But you see the points I'm bringing up, you right? I'm not going to argue for Celtic at any year, but who's going to spend, why would the board spend X amount of money and then they bring in a manager like just now in January and they bring a manager in next year? See, if they spend 15 million this year, that manager might come in and they think these players do not suit a system as he plays. So now these players are now going to be sitting on the bench, big money. They can't get rid of them because they'll be sitting there on 4 or 5 year contracts.
Because Celtic are already paying the price for that. This week they had to make changes to their Europa League squad. They've now got £5 million signing. Balikwisha has been taken out of the European squad because he's signed under a previous regime. He's not wanted by the current regime. So is that not evidence of what can happen when you don't have continuity at a football club?
I completely agree with it, and there is no continuity at Celtic. As you pointed out, there is no permanent manager, there is no permanent head of football operations who is leading the recruitment for the future. And I'm not being flippant when I say, when do Celtic begin the process of identifying the man they want to be manager next season?
Should have started, you would imagine.
You would think. And are there consultations with this gentleman about the type of player he wants, the number of players that he wants? Because it looks to me, with half a dozen or more loan players there and doubts over Hatate, Maeda, other guys, Arnie Engels was blocked from leaving for the English Premier League this week. By Martin O'Neill's own admission, he could have trebled his wages. It's not fair on Arnie Engels to deny him life-changing moves window after window after window. So you wonder if he'll move in the summer as well.
Something that we haven't really discussed then is the sensible structural play here to appoint a director of football, a sporting director, a head of football operations before you do that, before you do any of the rest
and allow
of
him to go and pick the next manager the way Lutz Pfannenstiel is doing at Aberdeen at the minute. Yeah.
Is that like you need, because at some point the structure needs fixed? No.
Well, as I said to you, Balikwisha raises another example of horrendous misjudgment at Celtic Park. £5 million and not involved because he has problems playing football, Balikwisha. But they are in a state, and the fans are protesting because they don't think the people in charge are up to the job of handling that. And I repeat one last final thing. Dermot Desmond's gone as far as he can with Celtic. Celtic need a whole different structure.
This is going to be the latest second half teaser ever.
Well, I forgot
we got carried away on the phones. Edinburgh City have got a penalty, incidentally, in our featured League 2 match. Remember, East Kilbride were 2-0 up, but that would set up a very nervy finish if Edinburgh City could put it away. It seems quite harsh. Baldy penalised for falling on the ball inside his own box. Let's quickly do the second half teaser, Hugh.
Okay.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I think the listening audience will get this in jig time. I have been managed by Craig Levein and Felix Magath. I have played alongside Fabrizio Ravanelli and Callum McGregor. I have won Scottish Premiership Winners' Medal, and I managed in England. So, I have been managed by Craig Levein and Felix Magath. I have played alongside Fabrizio Ravanelli and Callum McGregor. I have won Scottish Premiership Winners' Medal, and I managed a club in England.
That's a good question. At Clyde SSB, it is a race, so get thinking and send us your answers, please. That Edinburgh City penalty was saved. Craig Hepburn saving from Malik Zaid. So East Kilbride's 2-goal advantage stays intact. The phone lines are open, don't forget that. David Friel's got the answer to the teaser already. I feared it was on the easier side today.
Do you know what's putting a big smile on my face right now? The fact that Fraser's sitting there worried about extra time.
Can I cheer you up even more?
Yeah.
He's only just realised that there is extra time.
No.
This is a big goal.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
It might be Alison McConnell as well. Elgin City 2, Partick Thistle 2. Sargent is there with the header. Partick Thistle fans, if you've not made the trip and you're listening to us, it's getting nervy. Elgin 2, Partick 2 with 15 to go.
I'm very seldom in this studio on a Saturday afternoon. It's a different studio from the one we use when I'm on the midweek show. I'm wedged here between Hugh Keevins to my right and Gordon Dalziel to my left. And after that goal at Borough Briggs, I now fully understand why Mark Wilson's name is still in this chair in the middle. You're expecting him back at any moment.
Oh, he'll be looking at that pitch thinking, memories. Is it this? He'll be looking at his Thistle tracksuit going, is that a charity shop job? Is that going where the Brecon one went? He cannot afford
Thistle
to lose
will win
that.
3-2, be quiet.
Oh, I don't know.
So we only have 2 3 o'clock games in the Scottish Cup today, and they are both heading for extra time as things stand. That's what we like.
Yeah, that's what the guys
Alison
like.
McConnell will be home sometime around Easter.
Well, she wants to tick the box.
She did.
She'll certainly tick a big box. And then you've got
She can stay
Fraser.
up there for Elgin's next game.
Exactly.
Just double up.
It's all about getting out there and enjoying your football.
What time is it in Elgin? Is there a time difference there?
1995. Anyway, sorry to the people of Elgin, that was cruel. Right, keep your guesses coming at Clyde SSB. Have you got the teaser yet? Gordon Dalziel, David Friel got it straight away. Nothing from you?
I think so.
I think Roger Hannah will have it, yeah?
You got it?
No.
Right.
Okay. Quite like it. That was a good question. Yes, Gordon Dalziel's
he's got it.
Even Gordon Dalziel's got it. That shows you how easy it is.
There you go.
Told you, jig time.
Yeah, I think you could be right today.
Come on, Roger.
think
get on with you. And by the way, that's perfect. Because usually, what happens? Oh, Roger Hannah texts you. The man sitting to my right, he's not even got it.
Just means David Friel texted you today.
No, he did not.
Wonder if and when we'll get the first sighting, of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. If he's surely going to go to the game, is he not?
You would have thought. Staz is more interested if Mrs. Oxlade-Chamberlain is with him at the game.
We're not discussing that. Is there a...
I think it would be, you've just signed for Celtic. If you then go away to the airport and fly away without watching Celtic, I don't think that's a great look.
Is there an awkwardness attached to the notion of unveiling him or whatever on the day when there's going to be a protest? Now, someone raised it earlier. Rangers against Annan, that didn't have a big crowd anyway, right? And Skov Olsen and Romans and Chukwani came out. Can Celtic do that tonight? Even if there's, I don't know, 25,000, would you still do it?
25,000 people is still an awful lot of people. And they're paid an awful lot of money to be there.
Good point.
And I think you owe it to those who took the trouble on a miserable day to come out. You owe it to them to have a look at Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, they're going to parade him.
Let's ask Michael and Rob Royston. Michael, on the subject of boycotts, where do you stand on that one?
Hi, Gordon. Thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure.
I stand. Well, I'd like to first of all congratulate the Celtic board and what I think has been a fantastic transfer window. And I think this boycott, to me, whilst it was, I understand the frustrations of Celtic support because of the transfer window previously. They don't have that excuse now because the transfer window that's just happened has been a good one for Celtic. We signed 6 players. We've now signed 6 players. The whole English Premiership is, I believe, only signed 7 players between them during the transfer window. We've signed 6 at Celtic Park. We'll see where it goes at the end of the season. But it's very frustrating that the division has been caused by these protesters because I pay thousands of pounds for my season ticket every year. And I believe that these protesters are going to maybe put the season for Celtic in jeopardy because of the division that's around the club. It just spreads negativity. And at the start of the season, Celtic board banned the Green Brigade, and that was negative, and that's when it all started.
See the counter to that, Michael, though. You're saying you think these protesters will put the season in jeopardy. Are they not protesting because they feel the people that run the club put the season in jeopardy?
Yeah, but the transfer window has just happened. The reason why they're protesting...
What about all the windows before that?
But Gordon, we're talking about the here and now.
No, but the protest is a historical thing. They're not protesting about this transfer window, are they?
Well, yeah, okay, they're protesting about previous transfer windows, but what good is that going to do? The board have now fixed it. They've signed 6 players during this transfer window, so there's progress there.
Michael, would you not say that the hiring of Wilfred Nancy was what jeopardised the season?
100%, Hugh. 100%. I'm not. By the way, I'm not.
That was an exercise carried out by the board.
100%, Hugh. But what we have a title to win, we have a Scottish Cup to win, so we need to all rally around the team and support the team. See, after that, if they want to do a protest after the 90 minutes, 100% every single Celtic fan should be supporting the team during that 90 minutes.
I accept the jury is out on players who have come in because we literally don't know what they're like. However, Michael, to describe it as a fantastic transfer window, I think, is lending elasticity to the truth.
Very quickly, I need to tell you about these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Now, none of them are heading for extra time. It's Elgin City 2, Partick Thistle 3. Ben Stanway with the goal, 10 minutes remaining. And it was a deflected shot as well into the net. I don't think Mark Wilson will care. And Dunfermline 1, Kelty Hearts 0. A close range header at the back post from Chris Kane. And all of a sudden, the so-called favourites in those ties are heading through. At the end, I was testing Michael's theories along the way, Roger, but I think at the very end of it, that is the crux of the matter. You've got this situation where some Celtic fans want change, want to let their dissatisfaction known, and then other fans saying, what if that negativity, or what if that staying away from the games jeopardises the results on the pitch? And it's such a difficult spot for a football fan to be in, to be able to weigh that up and know for sure which is the best option.
Listen, there's bound to be confusion in the minds of a lot of Celtic fans. One of the callers earlier on said he wasn't going to the game but had bought tickets for the game, so he's effectively giving money to the club and putting himself out. It's a strange one. I'll be fascinated, when Gabs estimates the crowd at kick-off time. Will it be half full? Will it be less than half full? What is the atmosphere like? Clearly the Green Brigade are not back. Hugh was speaking earlier on, Celtic fans choosing unity, which has been asked for by Brian Wilson and Martin O'Neill, or choosing mutiny, which has been asked by the Celtic fans collective, and by way of today's protest. They should be united in the common goal of wishing Celtic success on the field, but it's a fine line to walk, because could these protests have a negative impact on results on the field?
But Michael wanted to congratulate the board, and over the course of the same call said that he accepted that the board's decision to hire Wilfred Nancy had jeopardised the season. Both cannot be true.
Let's thank Michael for his time and bring in Gary and Blantyre for his take.
Hi lads, thanks for taking my call.
That's
hope you're all
pleasure.
well.
Thank you, on you go.
Hugh, don't you worry, I'm not after you this week.
Shame.
Just on that call there, saying that the board over the last transfer window or this transfer window jeopardised the season, I'm going to suggest that if you look at Celtic were in February last year, the strength they were against Bayern Munich in the Allianz, and where they were as a team, as a squad. Since then, any decision that's been made not to strengthen, that's jeopardising things. Now, Celtic have been in a position for the last so many years where they've been ahead of Rangers. If the board had actually done their job and strengthened and actually tried to make an impact in Europe, the SPL takes care of itself. So just being able to kind of keep Rangers at arm's length, that's what's put us in this position as well. So there's a whole number of things, not just a window or an appointment of Nancy. It's a cocktail of things. So, it's not. This goes back over a period of time.
And is that not the problem, Gary? Because the Scottish Premiership takes care of itself until it doesn't. And that's kind of what we're seeing this season.
Yes, but if you, like I said, if you're actually building a team to challenge for Europe because you've conquered the FPL over the last number of years,
then that should be good enough to do it domestically.
Absolutely. If you're challenging Europe at a decent level, the SPL is clearly just going to be a kind of a shoe-in. It should be. So, just having the attitude of, let's keep Rangers at arm's length, and as long as we're better than Rangers win the league, then that'll do us. This is where they've faltered. We've just been happy to accept, just been better than them. So, it's a a mixture of a lot of things that have left us in this position. Now, I still think we'll win the league this year. I do. Clearly got to see how these transfers, the recent signings, make an impact. And I think Chavanchara and Araujo so far have been more than decent. I mean, it's only been 2 games, but a goal and an assist in his first 2 games. Can't really ask much more than that for a striker. So let's just see what the rest of them bring. But yeah, we should be in a far better place than we are. But again, that goes back kind of years and years, not just the 1 or 2 transfer windows. We've accepted just being a wee bit better than Rangers.
Is the hope, Gordon, if the remaining loan signings can show the early form that Chavanchara and Araujo have done, would Celtic be in a good place to end the season strongly?
Yeah, of course, because I think they've strengthened in areas that they had to go. They've got a good squad if they can keep everybody fit. Look, they've got a lot of football, obviously. Scottish Cup tonight, they're still in the league, they're still in Europe as well, so a lot of games, so they'll need to use that squad. Just depends on how the loan signings settle in, Gordon. It's like everything else. You can go and buy an £8-10 million player, no guarantee they're going to win you the league. I do agree with Gary. I think that Celtic, instead of getting stronger and stronger, and they had a great opportunity to pull away from the rest of the teams in Scotland, I think over the years they've just got weaker and weaker, and now that gap has firmly closed.
Roger, just to add another dimension to this, there is no sign on the park or on the bench of Arne Engels. You and I, being newspaper men, will read all manner of things into this, but is it deserving of something being read into it in the week in which you have denied him the chance to go to Nottingham Forest and to triple his wage and earn Celtic £25 million?
Well, I think the question will be asked of Martin O'Neill, after the game tonight. He spoke freely. Nobody knows more about Nottingham Forest than Martin O'Neill does, Hugh.
Correct.
He knows the league that Engels would have been going to. He knows the level of money that he would have been going to in there. And it was O'Neill himself said he could triple his money going there. So it's bound to be a setback to the lad. I don't know whether anything has been said to him that, we need to keep you in this window, Arne. You can go in the summer, anything along those lines. But there are a few missing tonight. Maeda, Schmeichel as well.
It's not like he's the only one, is it?
No, he's not the only one. So, but listen, the question will be asked of Martin O'Neill come 7:30.
Maeda and others didn't watch a £25 million move to England go down the drain.
No, I know, but what I mean is if he's the only one that's not in the squad, that's quite dramatic, because it all points to that. Whereas it could be that if Maeda's been rested, maybe Arne Engels has been rested.
I think Martin O'Neill is obliged to put out fires everywhere he turns at Celtic Park, and he's now got to explain away the £25 million move rejected by saying, oh no, I'm a trained fine and everything's fine. The cynic in me tells me all is not fine.
So you think Maeda's been rested, Iheanacho's been rested, but Engels isn't?
I think Engels has taken badly the rejection of the move to Nottingham Forest.
Refused to play today?
No, not at all. But managers look at players and study the body language, and they see them in training every day, as they always tell you. I don't think Arne Engels is happy.
I think it's a bit of both, Hugh. I think that if the bid hadn't come in, I think Engels would have probably been in the squad today, right? He'd have been a part of it. But I think it's just good management. You're resting a few players, you've freshened things up. The lad's probably had a lot going on in his head, and I think he just says to him, look, just take this off this weekend and we'll start again Monday. I don't read too much in it.
Would you have taken £25 million for Arne Engels?
Yes, I'm all day long, because I asked the question, Roger, and I know that people say, well, he plays all the time under Martin O'Neill, he's Martin O'Neill's guy, but if Arne Engels get injured tomorrow, would Celtic fans come on here in their droves and say we can't win the league now? Of course they wouldn't.
But you've got the choice when it's a transfer, you don't when it's an injury. So is that why they just want to make that choice?
I just feel, Gordon, at that point, 25 million for him, I think he's a very good player. I've always said that about him, but I think that was an opportunity Celtic missed. I can understand why, because the board, and this is what we discussed, the board come in for criticism because they won't spend money. Now, they've not backed 25 million quid. The profit there is, 20 plus add-ons. If it gets to 25, it's 14 million of profit. So you've got to weigh up, what is the board? Do they not spend money, but then they refuse a £25 million bid from a player that a lot of Celtic fans would probably agree. Take the money.
Or did Martin O'Neill say, if you sell him, I'll go as well?
Nah, I don't think,
some amount of theories coming from this guy in the last 5 minutes.
I don't
Arne
think
Engels is on strike. Martin O'Neill's threatening to what?
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
Hugh, it's a joke, okay?
The
It's
word,
a wee
the
joke.
word
Don't
strike
worry.
was not mentioned.
It was a wee joke. I'm not
the-
suggesting you said he was on strike.
But I simply float the suggestion that did Martin O'Neill say,
I'd
sell him and you lose me?
We don't know that, Hugh, but my guess, probably not. Look, he's a good player, but I think it's got to take more than him, the way he's been playing this season, if Celtic are going to win the championship.
Let's revisit that teaser. In fact, we might need to round it off looking at the time, Hugh. So yeah, let's do it. We didn't give you long today, but it was an easier one. We didn't think you needed the time.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Would you like the big reveal or a reminder?
Do it all.
I have been managed by Craig Levein and Felix Magath. I have played alongside Fabrizio Ravanelli and Callum McGregor. I have won Scottish Premiership Winners' Medal, and I also managed in England. That makes me Mark Fotheringham.
Mark Fotheringham, lots of you got it very, very quickly. I was impressed with the standard today, and the podium looks like Henke Moravchik in third place, Martin Riley in second, and Greg's Gardens is the winner. Greg will be feeling pretty good about himself, and I know who else will be feeling good about themselves. No extra time in Dunfermline.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And I'm not talking about Chris Kane, who's got a double, or Neil Lennon, who's seen his side go through. I'm talking about Fraser Wishart, that can be back in time to watch the 1% Club this evening. Chris Kane's got a double with 3 minutes to go, and it's Dunfermline 2, Kelty Hearts
Fraser
0.
Wishart last seen hugging Sammy the Tammy in the main stand at East End Park. He is getting home at an acceptable hour, and Neil Lennon is getting into the last 8 of the Scottish Cup once again.
And it was a tie that they would have expected to go through. They were favourites today, Gordon, but all of a sudden, as we said, that's a nice place to be, that for a championship side in Dunfermline to be through into the last 8.
Yeah, listen, they probably made it hard for themselves, but as we keep saying, no phrase in Scottish Cup games is get your name into the hat for the next round. So they've achieved that this afternoon, and Fraser can get up the road.
Are we going to get a nervy finish for Partick Thistle? They've got the 1-goal advantage, taking it into the final moments.
Will he be staying cool, calm and composed on the touchline at Borough?
Yeah, he'll probably have gone to a back five already. Just sat in these two wing backs. I can see it written all over him, defensive coach. But listen, that's a good result, because they can potentially be the ones that you know, come up and bite you. He's went up there 2-2. He must have been sitting thinking, oh, this could be a real poor day, and it's a long journey down the road. Let me tell you, I've made a journey from the north many a time with defeat. It's not the nicest, but
and they'll both be wanting each other if they go through, won't they?
That's just the reality. I mean, it gives a championship side the best chance to get to a Scottish Cup semi-final.
That's what I mean. I don't mean the glamour. I mean the chances of progression.
With regard to Partick Thistle being there, if half of the Premiership went to Elgin, you would say, ooh, bit of danger there. So for Partick Thistle to come away 3-2 winners.
Oh, however, they're hanging on.
Oh.
We've got them through, and it's not yet. It's taken a fantastic save from Josh Clark, Kyle Girvin with the header, and the Jags are clinging.
We'll be just waiting for that full-time whistle. There's nothing worse. Just saying, get the ball up the pitch, get it in the corners.
How happy would you be if Elgin equalised now?
I'd be delighted, yeah. Two things. Obviously, he's stuck up there for another 30 plus minutes and an opportunity to get out the cup.
That's his best friend that he's talking about there as well. Unbelievable.
News at 10 will be coming on Elgin.
Before we get full-time whistles, and they will be here in a second, so let's be quick with Thomas in East Kilbride. Take it away, Thomas.
Evening, Gordon, Roger, Hugh. How are we all doing?
Good.
So my point is, first of all, I'd like to say that I've got a lot of respect for the entire panel, including Hugh Keevins, but I have to call him out on his comments relating to Arne Engels. Because he said that he thinks that the reason Arne Engels isn't in the squad this evening is that he's taken badly to the rejection of the bid from Nottingham Forest by Celtic, and That very well could be the case. I suppose we don't know, but all logic would point to the fact that around a week, maybe 10 days, maybe up to 2 weeks ago, he was on record saying how much he loved playing football under Martin O'Neill and enjoyed the environment at Celtic that was generated by Martin O'Neill. So I'm just wondering why Hugh Keevins thinks such a big change has happened, considering that the interest only started on the final day. Surely footballers understand that on the final day there's a bit of a rigmarole and you might not be able to get everything you want done. So surely, even if Anna Engels wanted to leave, he'd be a bit more understanding given it was deadline day.
Well, first of all, I repeat the sentence that you have just uttered. That may very well be the case. We don't know. So you have come on yourself while not being in a position to say that what I floated speculatively is correct or otherwise. You said that may very well be the case. I don't know. I'll also tell you that for many, many years, decades, I have listened to players tell me one thing and do another. So, the public face is often not the private thought. So I merely put it forward that we're standing here on a 4-hour radio programme and speculation inevitably becomes part of it. And I merely said, do you think he's been made upset by the rejection of a move to Nottingham Forest?
But you didn't like it when the other Celtic fans speculated that Rio Hatate was working his ticket.
No, but that's a direct insult. You know, he deliberately insulted a Celtic player in order to talk up an incoming Celtic player. I saw no reason for the insult to Rio Hatate.
OK, thank you very much, Thomas. We've got two full-time whistles. One at Elgin, first of all, Alison.
Yeah, Partick Thistle get over the line here at Boroughbriggs. It finishes Elgin 2, Partick Thistle 3. It was nervy, they had to work for it, but Thistle got there in the end, which is all that Mark Wilson will be concerned with, as his side now look forward to a quarter-final tie in the Scottish Cup. It was end-to-end at times, it wasn't particularly pretty, but the result is the be-all and end-all of this one. Twice Elgin came back into this game, and twice it was Ryan Sargent. He was the man to get them there. He cancelled out Robbie Crawford's opener, and then he cancelled out Tony Watt's penalty when he levelled this tie deep into the second period. Ben Stanway's deflected effort 10 minutes from time got Jags over the line, but they will leave here knowing that they have been in a game. They had looked to turn the screw after the break, they'd huffed and puffed, but Elgin remains stubborn as they continued to make life awkward for their visitors. Aidan Fitzpatrick could have given them that second goal and the cushion that they craved after Tom Ritchie, the Elgin goalkeeper, had just lost control of the ball, but he spun in the box before firing his effort wide. At the other end, Elgin continued to remind them that they were still in a game. Russell Dingwall had let fly with an effort that Josh Clark was relieved to see whistle just wide off his left hand post. They then had a shout for a penalty when Sargent went down just inside the box, and it was a warning that Thistle simply did not heed. A couple of minutes later then Dingwall whipped in a glorious ball that Sargent rose to power his header into the net. Thistle kept going, they were looking, they were dogged, kept trying before Stanway's shot was finally deflected into the net just to enable them to breathe a sigh of relief, but it still wasn't over. Josh Clark had to push away a Kyle Girvin header, turn it around the post in the frantic last seconds of this game. It's a warm embrace at full time between Mark Wilson and his opposite number Alan Hale, with Wilson just relieved to be leaving here with a place in the last 8.
Congratulations to Partick Thistle, they are through. What about the other tie today? Dunfermline against Kelty. Here's Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, Thistle are joined by Dunfermline in the quarter-final draw. Not a vintage performance by the home side. It's nowhere near the quality as they had against Hibs. It really doesn't matter. They're in the quarter-final draw tomorrow, and they deserve to go through after a much better second-half performance. They're poor the first 45, but Neil Lennon put on Chris Kane at half-time, and he did the business with 2 goals. A bit lacklustre than Fairland first 45. After a decent start, the tempo dropped. The only clear chance came Callum Morrison, a low shot, really good to see by Kyle Gourley with his feet. Kelty had a chance just before the break. Aaron Arnott a shot that drifted just a yard wide. A few boos from Pars fans that wanted much better. The second half, Neil Lennon made that change, put Chris Kane on for Graham Carey, and he would turn out to be the difference between the two sides. Morrison was close, a free kick. Chilikoa, Mullen just wide with a header, but still a bit of a struggle for the Pars. In a moment of controversy on the hour, a lovely long pass by the left wing back Robbie Fraser was pulled down by Callum Morrison. He just slipped into Chris Kane 12 yards out on the left hand side, and his left foot shot hit the underside of the bar. It bounced a few times in and around the line. Certainly on the second bounce it looked as if it was over the line as it went back up and hit the bar, but ball was cleared and no goal was given. Pars fans furious and taking out the frustration on their players as they struggled to get a break in front of goal. Kelty hemmed back, struggling to get up the park as he'd done in the first half, but eventually the Pars did wear Kelty down, and it took lead 75 minutes. Sub Shea Kearney, who did really well on the right hand side, the young lad, did well. His cross with a slight deflection just looped to the back post, and Chris Kane, free 2 yards out, headed into the empty net. It was all over in 87. Sub Josh Cooper drove into the box. He was having a shot, it was going wide, but Chris Kane was alert and he turned the ball into the net from 8 yards. As they say, it doesn't matter how you get through. Cup football is simply about winning, and everyone at Dunfermline Athletic will be absolutely delighted. They're in the quarter-final draw tomorrow. Full time, Dunfermline Athletic 2, Kelty Hearts 0.
And we had a featured League 2 game today, such was the reduced schedule. Edinburgh City against East Kilbride. David Friel watched that one.
Yeah, and a good day for East Kilbride, Gordon. The band of away fans were very noisy at full time. They were happy. Their team won 2-0. Really good day. They took the chance to cut Spartans' lead at the top to 3 points. A deserved win. 2 first half goals from Bobby McCluckie. That proved enough for Mick Kennedy's side to boost their title bid. They were good throughout. They had chances in both halves and they took it when it mattered. Edinburgh City, they knocked the ball about really well, but they didn't create enough chances. They did have a spell towards the end where they maybe could have got one back, certainly from a penalty, but they didn't do enough in the end. As I said, McCluckie was really good for East Kilbride. He's on loan from Hearts and he grabbed the opener in 32 minutes. John Robertson, one of the standout players in the division and in this game, his brilliant pass carved open the City defence. McCluckie finished off at the second attempt. He then made it 2-0 just before half time. Cammy Elliott's cross was perfect for him and the teenager headed in at the back post. John Robertson had a shot saved. He fired a free kick wide of target. He felt East Kilbride were going to get a third, but then City were handed a lifeline. 18 minutes to go. Joe Balde was penalised for a handball inside his own box. Malik Zaid, another really good player, took the penalty, but Craig Hepburn made a brilliant save to stop it. To be fair to Edinburgh City, they kept going. They created 3 chances in a matter of seconds, couldn't take any of them. And East Kilbride towards the end just held out, no problem at all, just to pick up 3 crucial points. Full time Edinburgh City 0, East Kilbride 2.
Usually at this time we say it's over to you, but it's been over to you all afternoon because the phone lines have been open nice and early, but maybe you're just checking in, maybe you're used to the usual slot, so let's pick up that phone again please. 01419511025. What is on your mind tonight? Partick Thistle fans and Dunfermline fans, you'll be happy to be through in the cup if you want to share those thoughts. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is a Celtic player. Give us your reaction to that news. Are you boycotting tonight, Celtic fans, or are you not? What are your thoughts on it? Is it the right way to go? How do you think it will play out tonight? And if you want to preview Rangers Queen's Park tomorrow as an example, you could also do that. The floor is yours really. 01419511025. But Roger, Hannah, only 2 games at 3 o'clock. The 2 favourites, if you like, are safely through, and now attention turns to Dundee's trip to Celtic and a new signing in green and white.
Yeah, well, congratulations to Mark Wilson and Neil Lennon leading their teams into the last 8 of the Scottish Cup. They will be very, very excited at the draw tomorrow night. It could bring the club financial stability for either club, and it could also bring them the opportunity to get to Hampden for at least a Scottish Cup semi-final. Celtic, they have changed the team about tonight. I think they'll be strong enough to get past Dundee. I've actually been impressed by a lot of the work Stephen Presley's done with the Dark Blues this season. Simon Murray up top will always carry a threat. I like the 2 wide guys. I like Jan Dander tucked in behind as well. So a bit like Dunfermline and Partick, they will take nothing for granted come 5:30 at Celtic Park. They have landed a big name signing today in Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. They won't want the gloss taken off the signing by anything untoward happening on the pitch tonight.
That's for sure, Roger. And I do think that it would be a good sign if Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was at the game. It wouldn't look too great if he was at the airport and not at the match. And I think Celtic should take the opportunity to thank those who have turned up and show them Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in a Celtic jersey.
01419511025. That's the number you need, so give us a call. Whatever it is that's on your mind, today's football, tomorrow's football, this evening's football, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and more, and we will speak to you next.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls.
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history.
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
You know that feeling when your money is working for you? No? Well, make it! Open an investment account at XTB, make your first deposit and receive a free Rolls-Royce stock.
Rolls-Royce?
That's right. Own one of the best performing UK stocks this year for free. And if you like it, you can easily buy more stocks and ETFs with 0% commission. Join XTB and let your money work for you.
Your capital is at risk. Investments above €100,000 are charged at 0.2% commission. FX fees may apply. Limited availability. T's and C's apply.
At Lidl, there's always more to value. Like switching from Sainsbury's to Lidl and saving £32 on this week's big shop at lidl.co.uk/save more. Which means a stocked up fridge of big brands, award-winning own brands and your fresh 5 a day with extra helpings encouraged. Lidl, more to value. Prices checked 2nd of the 2nd, 26. Sainsbury's also sell other products. See online for more details.
Because you bought your robot vacuum on your Barclaycard, you got 0% interest for up to 24 months, which makes watching it, hypnotically sweeping up your crumbs, even more satisfying. Oh, missed a bit. What you buy is your business. Helping you pay less interest is ours. Barclaycard. Make money work for you. Subject to financial status. New customers only. Representative example, 24.9% APR representative variable, 24.9% purchase rate per annum based on £1,200 credit limit. T's and C's apply.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls.
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history.
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
You know that feeling when your money is working for you? No? Well, make it! Open an investment account at XTB, make your first deposit and receive a free Rolls-Royce stock.
Rolls-Royce?
That's right. Own one of the best performing UK stocks this year for free. And if you like it, you can easily buy more stocks and ETFs with 0% commission. Join XTB and let your money work for you.
Your capital is at risk. Investments above €100,000 are charged at 0.2% commission. FX fees may apply. Limited availability. T's and C's apply.
You can't do much in under 5 minutes. Boil an egg? Sure. Cook a roast dinner? No chance. But comparing car insurance prices with mustard.co.uk? Easy. See what you could save in just a few minutes. Click mustard.co.uk. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah and Gordon Dalziel are here to reflect on today's football. Look ahead to Celtic against Dundee this evening. Maybe preview tomorrow's games, including Rangers against Queen's Park. And it might be the 7th of February. But the free agent market means we've got a big signing on our hands as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain checks in at Celtic. Keep the calls coming. With that in mind, let's go back to Celtic Park, check in with Gabriel, get a full recap of the teams, find out if there's anything else of note.
Yeah, Gordon, let's go through the teams once more. 5 changes for Celtic. Trusty is back from suspension. Hatate, Bernardo and Sinisalo are all in, and there's a start for one deadline day signing. That's winger Joel Mvuka. Murray and Negron drop to the bench. Schmeichel, Engels and Maida out of the squad altogether. So it'll be Sinisalo in goal. A defence of Araujo, Trusty, Scales and Tierney. Hatate, McGregor and Bernardo in the middle. Yang, Mvuka and Schwanchera up top. Substitutes Duhan, Negron, Adamu, McCowan, Tunekti, Sirachi, Forrest and Donovan. No place for Benjamin. Arthur, the centre-half, signed on loan deadline date from Brentford. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, as you say, just arrived today. Well, officially confirmed today. Are we going to see him at Parkhead? We'll wait and see. For the visitors, Dundee will be McCracken in goal. Astley, Graham and Halliday. Dre Wright, Hamilton, Congreve, Cotterill, Danda and Yogan. Simon Murray, the captain, plays up top. Substitutes O'Hara, Ingram, Digby, Finn Robertson, Samuels, Riley, Scott Wright, Bevan and Jones. Now, so much has changed, Gordon, since Celtic's last game. That deadline day we touched on, they brought in 3 players on loan. They rejected that massive £25 million bid for Arne Engels. Of course, he is not in the squad today. There was that huge midweek league game at Aberdeen that was postponed just a few hours before kick-off, meaning they've now played a game less than title rivals Hearts and Rangers. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has just been announced as a free agent. The 32-year-old has joined on a deal until the end of the season. There's an option to extend for another year. He's been without a club since the summer after ending a 2-year stay in Turkey with Besiktas. But of course, we know the pedigree. Played for Liverpool, played for us and won the Premier League, the Champions League, has over 30 England caps, played at major tournaments. The question is, will he be fit? The referee here will be Ryan Lee, the VAR Andrew Dallas, and you can't ignore the spectre of a protest today. Many Celtic fans planning to boycott this game. Certainly expected an undersized crowd here tonight. We all know there are historical issues with the board, but if you just look at recent events, Gordon, that have eroded the relationship between the fans and the directors here. A poor summer transfer window, a Champions League exit at the hands of Kairat Almaty, a poor start to the league season, which then led to Brendan Rodgers walking away. There were 2 cup final defeats at Hampden in 2025. The Green Brigade, the biggest ultras group at the club, were banned. There was unprecedented fallout at the AGM, the hiring and firing of Wilfred Nancy within just 33 days. And then, just there, the January window where 5 players were signed, but not a penny was spent. Now, interim chairman Brian Wilson called for unity behind the team on the pitch. He's revealed plans for talks within the next week or so with supporters group. Manager Martin O'Neill called it a big step forward, and he hopes to find a middle ground to end the acrimony around the club. But it's very sparse in here right now. There's around 20-25 minutes before kick-off. I'll let you know how we look at 5:30.
Gabriel just did a good job of advertising any Celtic documentary which they choose to make about this season, Hugh Keevins, because it'll have a few chapters.
A season, a year of utter chaos, and Gabriel itemised it all very well. And that's why there is general unhappiness. Everywhere you look, transfer windows have been poor. The Kairat Almaty result was a disaster, a monetary disaster, apart from any other kind. The whole fiasco around Brendan Rodgers' departure and the statement from Dermot Desmond, the fiasco that was 33 days of Wilfred Nancy, defeats to Rangers, Hearts, Motherwell and Dundee United. 12 points which have sabotaged Celtic's chances of winning this title. 2 lots of Martin O'Neill on an interim basis, and the man must look around him at Celtic and wonder what is going on.
And yet, Gordon Dale, despite all of that, it is not unthinkable. We've all got our opinions, but it's not unthinkable that Celtic can win this league. So if they could do that, after all the downsides that Hugh and Gabs have just outlined, those won't be fixed overnight. It doesn't make everything go away, but puts a whole different complexion on things.
Oh, 100%. Listen, they could go and win the double. Never mind just win the league. Look, I think everybody will agree that they've got their work cut out to win the league. It's not plain sailing because there's 2 other teams there that have, been in the transfer market. I know that Hearts lost a couple of big hitters, but they've added to their squad. They've got a very good squad. You've got Rangers that are going about their business brilliantly, got the right players in the right positions for them. So it's how Celtic respond to that. And tonight's important, Gordon, whether there's, depends how many people are in Celtic Park. I'm not for a boycotting just now. I get the Celtic fans. I totally know where they're coming from. But I just think at this stage of the season, your team needs you. That's the most important thing. You've got your fights with the board going on. That's okay. You've got to just handle that. But right now, on a match day, the team needs the support.
We tend to forget there is a game of football about to break out at Celtic Park, and it's quite an important game of football because for all the dramas and controversies and flashpoints that we've discussed with Gabs and Hugh a minute ago, Celtic's season would be in danger of total collapse if they were to lose this game of football tonight.
Saf is a Celtic fan from Leicester. How are you, Saf?
I'm alright, buddy. I'm alright. How are you guys? You guys good?
Yeah, good. Thank you for asking. What made you call tonight?
So I've been listening to your show long.
Saf's signal down in Leicester's not great. We'll get that cleared up and get him back on. We will take a few more trips to Celtic Park in the lead up to the game and check in with the crowd and all that stuff. Like we've said a few times tonight, it's going to be hard to know exactly who's boycotted and who just wasn't going anyway, because this stage of the Cup, when it's at home and it's not in your tickets, season tickets, it doesn't always get a bumper crowd.
I know it's one caller, but one caller said, I bought tickets for the game but I'm not going. In this day and age, you don't throw money out the window like that.
Maybe he's got a few quid. Maybe
or he's given his tickets to someone else.
That's a good point. Maybe he'd a win in the scratch card last night. Saf's back. How are you, Saf? Take it away. Hi, Saf, can you hear us now?
I can hear you, can you?
Good, yes. We didn't really catch much. You were just saying you've been listening for a while, so what's your take on Celtic at the moment?
So the way I see it is, look, if I was running the club, at the end of the season, half the squad's running out of their contracts. We've got an aging squad. Guys like Schmeichel. We need to save that money for the new manager that comes in. Martin O'Neill's not going to be there. The whole reason we got Wilfred Nancy in was because Martin O'Neill did say that, look, I'm in my 70s, I'm getting old, it's a job for a young man. And we didn't know how long he was going to be there. So they brought him back in, and I truly believe he's one of the best managers I've seen in my lifetime. And he's brought back that hope, but he's not going to be there for long. I mean, the end of the season is not far away, so they need to save that money for whoever they're going to bring in.
For me, no. I disagree with all that. I think if the right player was there, they've got to spend the money. It's about winning the league. See if Celtic don't win the league this season, the board has got to come under horrendous pressure, because they're going to get, you didn't spend the money in January.
But
right?
does a transfer fee for a central defender, say, mean that he's better than Benjamin Arthur?
I don't know, because I've not seen these guys come in and play.
In theory, though.
But what I'm saying is, the Celtic fans, not me, the Celtic fans are saying already, we've not spent any money. Transfers have been terrible. We've got so much.
But that's what I'm saying. Is it not more relevant to discuss whether it's the right signing or not, rather than what type of contract they were on?
Yeah, but I know where you come from with the fact of loans with the manager. But what I'm saying is, if they don't win the league, right? Now, there's a possibility they could. These guys could just hit the ground running and be brilliant. The Celtic fans, not me, the Celtic fans are going after a board because of they didn't spend money.
I know, but again,
that's exactly what they're going to do.
Try and word it a different way. If it's all about just spending the money, what if they spent £5 million on the next Balikwisha? That's the point. It's not just the act of spending the money. It has to be spent on the right person.
And by the way, when Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney go to the board to say, we need this or that or the next thing, the board are perfectly within their rights to say, well, listen, can we put the brakes on this? Because last summer I was asked for £5 million for Michel-Ange Balikwisha, and now we can't put him in the squad, far less put him in the team. So it'll be really interesting, because the run into this season, starting in 20 minutes against Dundee, is huge for Celtic, because come the summer there'll be an enormous overhaul, but they'll find it's far easier to attract players to Celtic Park if the team's going to be playing in the Champions League rather than the Conference League next season.
You raised the point earlier, Gordon. A director of football is a priority now. Because
if that's the route Celtic would down, but it's some sort of structure.
Because
certainly,
for better or worse, the transfer window is over, and Celtic have signed who they have signed, and they will have to try and win the league with those players. A director of football is essential, first of all, to pick the new Celtic manager, because whoever was responsible for Wilfred Nancy should never be anywhere near the job of picking the next permanent Celtic manager. And I think the board have lost the moral authority, and Dermot Desmond has lost the moral authority to get involved in the choice of new manager. Director of football has to come in, play a big part in the selection of the new manager, has to set up a structure which is missing. Celtic are out of date as a football club. Rangers and Hearts have all that side of the business wrapped up. Recruitment is a carefully thought out business. At Celtic Park, it's haphazard. So the club is in need of restructuring. And as I say, for better or worse, Adamu will have to come through, Mvuka will have to come through, and Benjamin Arthur, if we ever see him in a Celtic jersey, will have to come through. But it's done. Celtic have what they have now. The cards have been dealt, and Celtic have to play the ones they have.
Because if Celtic spent £10 million in this window, right? Let's say they spent £10 million, but let's revisit it. They brought in Tunetke and Balakwisha for that £10 million. Are you going to say, oh well, at least they spent the money? It's neither here nor there in terms of the impact. Would be, but is that not short-sighted then? Right. Because in the last window they went and spent, say, £2 million on Shin Yamada. Are you not as well just loaning Thomas Chivanchera? Yeah, but at that time you don't know how they're going to do. Listen, everybody looked at them and thought, why are you spending £11 million in Engels? You got an offer of £25 million. So yeah, I know where you're coming from. But what I'm saying is, that's the point. At that time, Celtic were trying to sign Arne Engels with a view to something long term. At the moment, they're not doing that. It's a different set of circumstances.
For many years, Celtic get great praise for the club's transfer policy. Regardless who the manager was of the day, the club's transfer policy was to sign young, up-and-coming players for a certain amount of money, improve them during their time at Celtic, and sell them on at a profit. Can you imagine Celtic had paid, they've brought 6 players in, imagine Celtic had paid out 6 transfer fees in this window. How chaotic that could be, and what you could be left with. Listen, I am talking the fact that the fans will hold this against the Celtic, because I don't doubt it, but what I'm trying to say, whether you're passing it off to the fans or not, it has to be more nuanced than just spend money. I didn't say just spend money. My point, you kept saying that they should have spent money. My point was quite simple: is if they didn't win the league this season, then the fans would go after them more because they didn't spend money. The last couple of windows have been far more haphazard than we have been used to watching Celtic in transfer windows. They've been poor the last couple of windows. They need to hope that some of these loan signings, Oxlade-Chamberlain being the latest when Gordon, can hit the ground running and can have a positive influence on the run-in, because Celtic need to start again almost. They need to build a new structure. They need a new head of football operations. They need to get that person to identify a new head coach, and the new head coach and a recruitment team need to identify the players for next season, because the guys we're watching just now in Celtic colours, an awful lot of them won't be here next season. Thank you, Saf. I was about to bring in Michael, but he's disappeared as well, so you can give us a call back, Michael, on 0141 951 1025. We'll go back to Celtic Park in the not too distant future as well. Still got some interesting ties to come over the rest of the weekend. Yeah, very much so. Good games tomorrow. Rangers against Queen's Park at Ibrox, 2 o'clock. Lightning, surely Gordon could not strike twice. Seb Drost, Callum Ferry, both still there, both likely to start. Surely Rangers couldn't trip up again at home to Queen's Park. And of course, later tomorrow night, the derby at Oakle View, Stenhousemuir versus Falkirk. Producer John's game of the season. I think that Stenhousemuir Falkirk will be a good game, but see the way Falkirk are going about their business this season, I think they'll go there confident and they'll get themselves through. I think Sten will put up a good fight against that. And I hope Jim Duffy's not listening, but I'm expecting a high score line tomorrow at Ibrox, I've got to be honest. That means a cup weekend with no shocks then, by the sounds of it. Yeah, I can't disagree with what Gordon just said there. Falkirk have been a credit to themselves. John McGlynn, a credit to himself. They won't go down at Stenhousemuir. And Rangers, just because it happened a year ago under vastly different circumstances, Rangers will win by at least 3 clear goals tomorrow. Speaking of Falkirk, do you know what transfer story I quite enjoyed that came out latterly? What about Celtic's reported interest in Calvin Miller? Yeah, I saw that actually. Listen, he's been absolutely terrific. He's arguably been Falkirk's best player, and among a batch of very good players this season. He's impressed any time I've seen him. He's one of these players that John McGlynn has reignited his career. It would have been fascinating to see if he had gone back, because how did he view Calvin Miller? Did he view him as one of the 3 behind the strike where he plays for Falkirk, or was he just being signed as cover for Kieran Tierney? They must have been contemplating paying money for him, because you can't with a straight face go to John McGlynn and say, can we take Calvin Miller on loan? He's been excellent, Hugh. He's been absolutely excellent this season, I've got to say. And that's what I mean. Sometimes if he was at Celtic as a boy and he goes to Falkirk and you think, well, that's it, his career's probably just got to stay there.
he's get better and better, and he's been a big part of Falkirk's success this season.
Must have been look, it clearly never got to that final stage. Celtic obviously had other targets ahead of him and it never got to that, but as far as I understand it, there was an interest there was a conversation somewhere that took place. So does he then get left feeling a little bit disappointed, or is he just excited about the project and what they're trying to do?
Listen, I don't know. It depends how far down the line it got. It doesn't sound as if it gets far down the line as any kind of bid, the way Nottingham Forest bid for Engels, the way that Anderlecht bid for Maswanisi at your place. It was maybe just one that Celtic were considering. Listen, it might have happened had they not got in the guys that got in at the end of the window. You know, if Mavuka had fallen through or something like that, they may well have moved from. But I think you should take it for what it is. It's a flattering interest in a player who has done very, very well for a newly promoted team who look as if they're going to finish this season as a top 6 team.
Okay, let's park that for now, because kick-off at Celtic Park is coming next.
You know that feeling when your money is working for you? No? Well, make it! Open an investment account at XTB, make your first deposit and receive a free Rolls-Royce stock.
Rolls-Royce?
That's right. Own one of the best performing UK stocks this year for free. And if you like it, you can easily buy more stocks and ETFs with 0% commission. Join XTB and let your money work for you.
Your capital is at risk. Investments above €100,000 are charged at 0.2% commission. FX fees may apply. Limited availability. T's and C's apply.
Private healthcare sounds pricey.
At Benenden Health, it's less than £16 per person per month.
Just for GP calls.
For a 24/7 GP helpline, physio, diagnostics and more. Now, tell me.
All about my medical history.
No medical questionnaires or hidden charges. We like to call it
healthcare done different.
Spot on. Benenden Health. Healthcare done different. Fee review periodically. 6-month wait for some services. T&Cs apply. Selected surgical procedures after 6 months. 24 in Northern Ireland. UK only. Visit benenden.co.uk.
We are now approaching your destination. New home of your old bestie, who you used to be all like girls are forever, boys are whatever with. Until she shacked up with Greg, moved a gazillion miles away and got a dog. But you make it work, because you'll always be besties forever.
Travel by train with Avanti West Coast and be with them sooner. Book early and save up to 42% at avantiwestcoast.co.uk. Exclusions and limitations apply.
A Rayo original podcast.
Hello, I'm Pete Wicks and my podcast Man Made is back for Series 2. I'm sitting down with more of my mates and famous faces to talk modern masculinity, who we are, who we want to be and how we get there.
Am I enough as any of these things? Am I any good at these things?
Anger takes the place, I think, for men.
Listen to Pete Wicks Man Made from Feb the 11th. New episodes every Wednesday on the Rayo app, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
When ordinary people take on extraordinary challenges. When it's the finale after weeks of competition. When it's time to go big or go home.
So, who do you want to win?
Him. Good hair.
Classic reason, yeah?
Nothing brings us together like great TV. And a TV licence covers you to watch all TV channels, plus BBC iPlayer, with all the reality shows you love to talk about. Search TV licence together.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. We are about 5 minutes away from kick-off at Celtic Park for the Scottish Cup tie at home to Dundee. I believe Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has been spotted outside. He'll be making his way in, a few selfies I'd imagine, much like when Gordon Dalziel turns up at Starks Park or something like that. But he'll be the talk of the town, and then the game, of course, which is a big one. It just feels like everything this week has been about signings and the bigger picture and boycotts and all that stuff, but as one of the guys pointed out earlier, a really big 90 minutes, potentially more, coming up for both Celtic and Dundee. So we'll go back there in just a second. In the meantime, you can call us 01419511025, so why not let us know what's on your mind. Maybe you want to talk about that game, about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, about the boycotts. Maybe you want to reflect on today's action, or maybe you want to look ahead to tomorrow. The game just about to get underway in a few moments. Gabriel, is a pretty small crowd generally at this stage of the competition, but it must be much more reduced as a result of this boycott. Would that be fair?
Yeah, certainly, Gordon. You'd be surprised if this is half full in here. Maybe 25,000 fans inside. As you hear there, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain just being paraded onto the pitch. Celtic's latest signing, walking out the tunnel and saying hello to his new fans. He signed a deal until the end of the season with an option for a further year. Of course, not played since leaving Besiktas, the Turkish club, at the end of last campaign. Number 21 on his back. Oxlade-Chamberlain, the former England international, is a Celtic player. Well, let's get to the game, Gordon. Only a few minutes until kickoff. Martin O'Neill has won 10 out of 11 domestically this season, including 2 out of 2 in cup competitions. It's not always been pretty, but he is certainly getting the job done. He'd be hoping that new signings will bolster this team. Of course, they brought in 4 since they last played. One of them, Joel Mvuka, starts today. He's one of 5 changes from their last game against Falkirk. Junior Adamu, one of the deadline day signings, is amongst the substitutes. There's no place on the bench for Arne Engels, following the club's rejected £25 million bid from Nottingham Forest. As we know, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is here as well. Let's go through the Celtic team then. Sinisalo in goal, Araujo, Trusty, Scales and Tierney as a back 4. Hatate, McGregor and Bernardo in the middle. Yang, Schwanchera and Mbuka, the forward 3. What about the visitors? Well, Dundee come here with John McCracken in goal. Astley, Graham and Halliday will play. Wright, Hamilton, Congreve, Cotterill, Danda, Yogan and Murray. So Dundee, we all know about them against Celtic this season. They might not have won here in Glasgow for many, many years, but they did win at Dens Park back in October. That, of course, led to Brendan Rodgers' infamous Honda Civic comments, and his tenure just unravelled from there. And that's part of the fans' unhappiness with the board, Gordon. As you know, I listed so many reasons why supporters might be boycotting and protesting today. As we say, just a few minutes before kick-off, it's barely half full. Not quite the 60,000 fans in here for a usual match at Celtic Park. Celtic against Dundee, though, 5th round of the Scottish Cup. Kick-off about 2 minutes away.
I feel like I need a survey, though. I need a survey, Hugh. I just looked it up again because I got mixed up with the Kilmarnock last the previous round. This exact round, at this exact time, last year, in the same competition, exactly a year ago, Celtic played Wraith Rovers.
Yeah.
And it was half full.
Yeah.
So it's half full again. It's hard to know what the extent of the boycott is. Do you see what I mean by that in terms of like the comparison, the measurement?
For a start, Celtic have a large Irish support who can't get back home if you play at this time on a Saturday night. Also, it's live on television. The weather's terrible. Many people might think that will do me, I'll watch it on television. But to one degree or another, people have stayed away.
There's something in it for sure, yeah.
People have stayed away. And that's why Brian Wilson came out, went on the club's TV channel and spoke of the need for unity, his word. So those who would rather have mutiny will have to get round the table with Brian Wilson and Michael Nicholson and get this sorted out, because Celtic have so many, many problems on the pitch and in terms of their structure off the pitch without having to deal with a mutinous support.
Because what does it mean, Roger? Does it mean that those who have stayed away have in part been replaced by others who decided to come to the game? I mentioned that the Wraith Rovers last season, it was Saturday the 8th of February. Mm-hmm. It was a 5:30 kick-off. Mm-hmm. It could not have been more similar, really, circumstances. It came 4 days before Bayern Munich. Celtic were in a good place then, and they had a half-empty Celtic Park. So the ones who wanted to stay away, have others just decided to come? Do we get a better idea of this in a so-called bigger game, or a game that's on the season ticket, or something like that?
Yeah, and you wonder if the Celtic fans collective will look at this and think it's maybe not had the impact they were hoping. You know, it's not as if the crowd's down, as you say, considerably from the corresponding fixture 12 months ago in the Scottish Cup. Kick-off time's the same, on the telly just the same, so it doesn't appear to have had a huge impact on the crowd. Will they try and do it again at a more meaningful fixture? Could they try and do it again at, you know, the European game against Stuttgart, another game that's not on the season ticket? Or, you know, what is their next move? Because they've hinted they have more moves up their sleeves, Gordon.
Be meaningful, all right, if they go out the cup today, Gordon.
Yeah, you touched on there that it was Raith Rovers. This is a Premier League team that's capable. I know, Gordon, they're capable of, you know, I would fancy Dundee to get a upset rather than Raith Rovers, if I'm honest.
I meant more in terms of, and I don't mean to disrespect Dundee, I feel like if you're a Celtic fan and you stay in the house for Raith Rovers, I don't know if you go, oh, Dundee. That was all I meant. I don't mean to disrespect.
I think there's a lot to it. I think obviously there'll be ones that obviously are boycotted. The weather takes a big part. Hugh's quite right in touching on the travelling at that time, because it's a 5:30 kick-off, and it's on TV. And if it was my choice and I was a Celtic or a Dundee supporter, I'd be tucked up in my recliner watching it on TV.
I'm interested in Dundee, Roger, because I think they can be pretty good. I think, and they've got some Congreve and Yogan. And is that Ashley Hay's not fit, is he? Is it Simon Murray leading the line? Up top. But generally speaking, Ashley Hay, and the league position's still not great. They obviously started poorly, but I think they're capable.
Yeah, listen, they've got a puncher's chance at Celtic Park. I think everyone watching will believe Celtic will get through. Martin has rotated, but it's still a very strong starting 11. It's a decent bench as well. It would be, you used the phrase earlier on, we're getting a weekend without a cup shock. It would be a seismic shock if Dundee were to win here tonight. Remember what happened to us? Loxley Chamberlain was last at Celtic Park.
With Liverpool?
Scored for England against Scotland.
Oh, did he?
12 years ago.
And he scored.
Hampden as well.
Hampden.
Did it twice.
He's got it in for Scotland, that guy.
3-1 and 1-0.
Yeah.
Good knowledge there from Roger.
Who get the other England goal? Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, because did he not match Bobby Charlton's record that night or something
Andy
like
Robertson
that? Maybe
score for Scotland.
Yeah.
A rare goal. Anyway,
and the man who was Scotland manager is sitting in the stand tonight as part of the Dundee travelling entourage, Gordon Strachan.
Yeah, getting selfies with the Celtic fans outside before joining his fellow Dundee power brokers in the stand.
Yeah, there you are.
Popular man. Right, we'll keep you up to speed on anything that's happening. Celtic looked like they had a nice move up their sleeves straight away, but it was an overhit pass from Reo Hatate. And just in case you're wondering, Mvuka is playing on the right, Gordon, so that's interesting, because Yang, don't tell Hugh Keevins, but Yang's been decent there in the last
and he's got a couple of goals from there. Obviously the one against Rangers as well, cutting in on that favourite right foot and blast it by the goalkeeper. It'll be interesting to see how he does tonight.
The height of irony if Yang scores the winner against Livingston midweek after all that big Bartley's had to say about him.
Do you know, but so see if Yang scores the fifth in a 5-0 win for Celtic against Livy, do you think Marvin will take well when I ask him post-match for some sort of Hugh Keevins Yang answer? I don't know if he will.
If it's 5-0 and Yang scores the fifth goal, I'm going to text him while the game's going on.
I wouldn't advise it. Jamie's on the line. Hi, Jamie.
How's it going, right?
Good, Jamie. What's your point tonight?
My point is, see what you're all talking about with transfers and whatever. No, remember Celtic have paid a lot out and see managers. If you look at the compensation for Brendan Rodgers alone, on top of compensation of $2.5 million for Wilfred Nancy before he even came, it's a lot of money. You're talking about the best part of £10 million by the time you put Martin O'Neill's deal into it. So it's no and Jota. So see, before even any transfers, they've got a big outstanding money outlay even before. I think people actually forget that. So when people say they're not spending money, they've had to spend money, and that's money that needs paid out straight away. That is
Jamie. But see, Jamie, see if it was all about money. This is what I'm trying to say. If it was all about the money, why would they not take the 25 million for Arnie Engels?
Are you kidding? I think if they took the money for Engels, I think they'd be an absolute. You couldn't even imagine what
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. But if we're the what I'm taking from Jamie's call, correct me if you take something different, is Celtic can't afford to splash all this cash on players because they're paying off managers. They turned down £25 million.
And also, I don't believe it was anywhere near 10 million in compensation.
But you take the point.
But even if it was 10 million, Jamie, they get 15 million for getting into the Europa League knockout stages.
That's right. That's all fair and well. But much do you think Chamberlain is getting them wages to come to Celtic?
Jamie, you can stay here all night and try and make out a case that Celtic would be in need of income support. Celtic get plenty of money. Doesn't matter what Oxlade-Chamberlain's wages are. Doesn't matter what the compensation package was for Brendan and Wilfred Nancy. Celtic get £15 million for reaching the knockout stages of the Europa League. That will cover everything.
I've got no idea, Roger, but if I was just being totally very general, very hypothetical, I'm sure he'll get decent money, but you could be talking $500,000 between now and the end of the season, yeah, for Oxlade-Chamberlain's wage. So a lot of money, but not enough to hold you back as a football club, which is kind of what Jamie's alleging.
No, absolutely not. And listen, that will not impact Celtic's bank balance, to any note whatsoever. Clearly, Martin O'Neill wants Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in. He believes he's got the qualities that would enhance Celtic's chances of winning the league, of winning the Scottish Cup between now and the end of the season. And you never know, he could come in and have a real impact. He could prove his fitness. He could prove that he still has the quality that he once possessed, and he could win a longer deal. Celtic announced it this afternoon. They made it clear that there is an option there for him to stay beyond the end of the season. But quite what Celtic's first team will look like at the start of next season really is for anyone to debate, because there will be a head of football operations, there will be a new head coach, there will be countless new players, Gordon.
Within the first 6 minutes, Gordon, if there's nothing really happened, you're just looking at how are the teams setting up, what's their approach like, what lessons or what kind of conclusions can you draw. And it looks like Dundee are pressing really high and trying to have a proper go at Celtic, but
there's a
well done John McCracken. He has to come a good 40 yards out, and Vuka was onto it. Was offside flag up?
I don't really know. No, obviously not. And I'll tell you what, you're right, Gordon, good goalkeeping. He's read the situation because he was in. There was no doubt about that. You're right, Dundee are pressing, and they've got the players to do that. Simon Murray just runs for fun.
How fascinating are these tactical battles, though? Because what you saw there, and maybe that's what Celtic now have, so it's all well and good Dundee pressing high up the pitch, but one long ball to Chavanchera, and because Dundee are pressed high, he just flicked it on, and Mvuka had half the pitch to run into. Yeah,
that's the gamble. If you go and you press high, you've got to make sure that you're not open for the sucker punch over the top, just that one simple ball, and then all of a sudden you find yourself a goal down at Celtic Park with a mountain to climb. So he's decided, Stephen Presley's decided that he wants to go on the front foot. He thinks he's got the players in the front areas to do it. First goal's got to be important as usual in the cup tie.
Stephen Presley, a Scottish Cup winner with Celtic under Gordon Strachan back in the day. Is that one of your favourite questions? Won it with Hearts 2006, moved to Celtic, won it again with Celtic in 2007.
Same as Paul Hartley.
Yep.
Back-to-back seasons with different clubs.
Won it with Rangers in the 90s.
Won it with 3 different clubs, Stephen Presley. Could he add it with something if he added it as a manager this season? My goodness. But it has to get past Celtic first. 7.5. Celtic have looked dangerous in terms of some areas. Not really any chances yet. They have their first corner, but they've found some pockets of space quite well, Gordon, in the early stages. Yeah,
working it well down the right hand side, as you expect, just using the width, Gordon, being nice and patient. Callum McGregor just sitting in the middle of the park trying to organise everything, as I think it's Hatate's went with a shot there well over the bar. It's not really troubling McCracken, but decent start to the game. I certainly think there'll be goals in it. That's what we're just seeing that again. Just one long ball, and lucky the goalkeeper on his toes. He comes out there and rescues Dundee.
What a start that could have been for Mvuka if he scored a goal.
Does look to have a turn of pace though here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He held on to that when Van Scharaven moved it on.
Okay, 01419511025. The lines are still open. Keep your calls coming. Of course, we're keeping an eye on events at Celtic Park, and if you want to preview tomorrow's action as well, this might be a good time to do so.
It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line 0141 951 1025.
Still Celtic 0, Dundee 0, 12 minutes on the clock, but Celtic have made some interesting opportunities. Firstly, it was a very swift, incisive counter-attack. It was flashed across by Yang. Chavanchera couldn't get there, and neither could Mvuka at the back post. And then another moment where Reo Hatate cut in and had a shot pushed away by John McCracken.
I'm liking Mvuka right away. Good feet, and clearly not troubled at all by the debut at Celtic Park. He's liking it.
Yeah, he's getting a bit of the ball down the right hand side. Celtic, as you said, Gordon, there with an early chance. It was great play all the way from the back, Hatate involved in it as well. Great ball across, just unfortunately couldn't get on the end of it. But they're starting to ask a few questions of Dundee, and if they play like this, I'm sure goals will come for them.
There was a slightly ropey moment, Roger, when Cameron Congreve flashed one across and Sinisalo didn't really cover himself in glory at his near post. Would that be fair?
I think it came off his near post, didn't it? Yeah, I think it actually maybe hit the post and back out to safety, but no, he did not. He's standing in for Kasper Schmeichel this afternoon. He did not look at his most comfortable there, Gordon.
So 13 gone, no goals yet, but Celtic looking threatening, just looking for that final touch. Lots coming down both flanks. Set piece a moment or two ago, corner didn't really come to anything, so we'll keep an eye in the opening stages to see who goes into the draw to join St Mirren, who took extra time to get past Airdrie last night. Of course, Dunfermline joined them by beating Kelty today, and Mark Wilson's Partick Thistle.
Aye, it's nice to come back here and actually go away with a positive result after the last time I was here. Thought the game old-fashioned cup tie, and I think we all understood what we were coming to, so we knew it was going to be difficult. We knew we weren't going to just be runaway winners here, and turned out that way. And I'm glad the boys showed resilience in the end after Elgin scored their second goal to start building, create more chances and eventually get winner. I've been there myself as a player. You get a sense of that when you're on the pitch as well, especially when you're away from home. So fair play to the players for steadying themselves and gaining their composure again, and then putting things together. And I thought the goal, the way we worked it, obviously took a few deflections away in, but I was pleased with that. So they've done that time and time again this year. When we concede or we take a wee bump in the road, they've been great at bouncing back, and they showed that in 90 minutes today.
The Jags are in the hat.
Yep. The Jags are in the hat. Congratulations to them. As I said earlier on, it looked, listening to Alison's report, it wasn't always straightforward for them the way I thought it might have been when they took that early lead. But you can only go to places like that and do your business and win the game. Ben Stanway, they will not keep him beyond the end of this season. I think he's already knocked back contract offers. He will move on, but he's played a big role today in taking Thistle into the last 8. Do
you think he's maturing? I don't think he's liking the last time you were in Elgin.
No, he's not. He doesn't care for that at all. And David Friel earlier told us the reaction that Mark had to David saying, "Have you ever been to the Boroughbriggs before?" But I repeat, he's second top of the championship. He's very much in the promotion race. He's doing a grand job with Partick Thistle. They're in the last 8 of the Scottish Cup. What more can Mark Wilson do?
Dundee just taking the pressure off themselves a bit, driving forward, and there's a foul committed just around the halfway line by Rio Hatate. So Dundee still sticking to their game plan, Gordon. They're playing quite an open brand and passing it around and pressing Celtic high.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a cup tie. You're not there to go and try and maybe sneak a point and go up the road. It's all about getting your name in the hat. They've got to be cautious, because if they put too many bodies forward, they put a nice ball in the box there. Listen, they're a threat. You know that about Dundee. The one thing about them, they've got guys out there like the captain today, Simon Murray. He will cause all sorts of problems.
Good cross in, and Murray got up with the header. Pretty sure it came off Austin Trusty. I think Simon Murray thinks it did as well. But it was a goal kick anyway. Celtic tried to play fast, and Dundee pressing them very, very high indeed. There's 3 Dundee players in the Celtic box.
I'm not sure Sinisalo's got the temperament for that. The nature of the pass backs to him and the high press from Dundee, but they've survived the moment.
Yeah, Celtic are standing up to that press quite well, Roger. They haven't always done that this season.
No, that's the case. And I know the point you're making about Sinisalo, but they have looked reasonably comfortable playing it out from the back altogether. It's actually been a really good start to the game, these first 18-19 minutes. Chances at either end. I just wonder, how long it would take Celtic to get in top and start really imposing their will on this game of football.
Yang maybe put a shot out for a throw in there, Hugh, if you want to bring that up.
Yang is very, very much like Yang, and Marvin Bartley's there watching it all. So I'll text him tonight, because I sent him a text last Sunday when he became the manager, and I said, make Yang your first signing.
There he is, leaving no stone unturned. Celtic at Celtic Park on Wednesday night. Is there doing his homework? You cannot accuse the man of not taking his newly promoted position seriously.
You've not spotted Mercedes Jens in the corner?
Aye, yeah.
He was next to Jim Goodwin as well. So all the managers are there keeping an eye on things.
Well, Mercedes Jens is there. She's probably the next Celtic manager.
Come on.
Oh, you're throwing it out today, Hugh. I like it.
Rio Hatate might be on his final warning. You can see the referee holding up the 2 fingers to indicate the 2 fouls that he's committed already. So I think one more like that and Rio Hatate would be in the book. So we're now getting a fair section into the game. 17.5, still goalless. Celtic have looked bright at times, but might want to step it up again.
Oh, it's not a foregone conclusion, that's for sure. And with Simon Murray, an absolute nuisance, and Sinisalo, I don't think the most reliable of goalkeepers. I think Celtic might be in the market for another goalkeeper. Schmeichel, I don't expect to see there next season. Sinisalo, I'm not sure the fans believe in him as the number one choice. So Celtic be in the market for a goalkeeper among several other things.
The only thing I'll say, Hugh, is he's not really had a real run of games, and sometimes it's difficult coming in for the cup games and stuff like that. So yeah, I know what you're saying. You look at him, you think, oh, I don't know if he's going to be the answer, but as a player, you really need a right run of games to show what you can do and settle in. And remember, you're working with defenders and you're not used to playing with them week in, week out. So
it's not a bad spell, this, for Dundee.
Dundee are decent, by the way. Dundee are okay. If you don't play well and you give them an opportunity, they'll hurt you. There's no doubt.
You're an away player, Daz, playing in a cup tie like this. You're in the Dundee side and you come out at Celtic Park to discover the place is half empty. Does that give you a lift?
I always believed that I loved playing in front of big crowds. I think it gave you a bigger lift. I think the atmosphere and the adrenaline and everything, Roger, would give you a bigger lift. Yeah, some players at Dundee might just look at it and think, oh yeah, okay, Celtic fans don't fancy it tonight for whatever reason, so we might have a go here. But no, I was always loved the full crowd.
What a first touch that is.
I'm having that
from Mvuka. He just sticks out the left boot and brings it down, but it's back with Liam Scales for the moment. So reaching that 20-minute mark, still time to squeeze some calls in if you want. Always a bit more difficult when there's a game ongoing, but nevertheless we do still have time as we await an opener in this one. I was interested, Gordon, as well, watching Celtic's press, trying to get it back off Dundee. How often do you have to watch Celtic's press without Daisen Maeda in it? We never really see that these days.
Yeah, he's usually the one that I think. I'll tell you what, if Roger's talking about Dundee players, if you're a defender and a goalkeeper and you see Maeda's not in the team sheet, I think you're quite happy with that, because you know that if he's playing, the minute you get the ball, he'll be round about you doing the press. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think I keep going back to it. I like the look of the way Celtic are playing. They're getting the ball forward. They are patient.
We've given him Vuka praise where he deserved it, but he just tackled himself there a little bit.
Arroyo's high up. He gives Celtic something extra on the right hand side, something that's been missing since Alistair Johnson's been out the side injured. As an attacking someone to supplement the attack, Gordon, he offers more than either Ralston or Donovan for me, and he's an impressive start up that side with him, Vuka, today.
Yeah, here he is, the first of the January signings, the only one signed under Wilfried Nancy, as you heard on last night's Beat the Pundit. You were on fire last night, were you not?
Yeah. I was good.
Did you win, Hugh? I take it.
Oh, easily
5-1, I think.
Celtic flashing a few balls across the face, but no takers. And Ethan Hamilton does really, really well to take the pressure off, carries it some distance and draws a foul from Callum McGregor. What about tomorrow then at Ibrox? What does your preview look like, Roger Hannah?
Well, it'll be the easiest team talk of Danny Roll's Rangers reign so far. He'll just say to them, don't do what you did last year when I wasn't here. It was a calamitous result. It effectively finished off Philippe Clement at the football club, and Danny Roll will know not to take Queen's Park lightly tomorrow. Callum Ferry is still in goal, as I said earlier. Seb Drost, who scored that goal at Ibrox last season, will be there and playing. Yes, they will miss Josh Fowler, who's headed for St Johnstone, but it didn't seem to do them any harm when they beat Arbroath last week without him. It'll be a great day for Sean Crichton and Jim Duffy, but I would expect Rangers, as Daz said earlier, to win with a bit to spare.
Chance for some of the new players to start games again, Gordon, what would you expect?
Yeah, I think there'll be big changes tomorrow. I think some of the new players, Romans at left back, I'd love to see him starting, I really would. He looked at he had great potential down that left hand side, teaming up with Moore. But look, it's a day out for Queen's Park, and I'm writing them off because I don't think there will be a cup shot. They probably look at it and think, it's a free hit. We shouldn't have been there, only for a mistake from Sunra. So go and enjoy it. But I fancy Rangers to knock in a few goals tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think 3-0. But with regard to this game, 1/4 of the way through, I think Celtic, for all their domination, I think Celtic would like a goal before half time. I think if you're goalless at half time, it gets a little bit
Hugh, you'd be a terrible football manager, not because of your ability to spot.
Too anxious.
Yeah, you're 22 minutes on the clock and you're thinking, need a goal before half time.
Use those 3 substitute windows at the half hour mark.
His tactics and everything would have been changed.
He just doesn't hang about.
No, he likes an early goal.
Did you never get anxious even when you were 6-0 down to Rangers and then it became 7?
Yeah, well, I got anxious that it was going to be 10, if I'm truly honest with you. But no, I never stood at any point after 22 minutes and thinking, oh, I need a goal quickly, I need a goal here.
That's
before
what you're thinking. I hope Barry remembers I'm getting his shirt.
Yeah, final thoughts on this one, Roger. We'll probably need to head off soon. What have you made of the opening exchanges?
It's been good. Dundee have come to play football. Celtic settling in. A save there from John McCracken. And I think Stephen Presley will be the happier of the 2 managers after a quarter of the game.
I've got to be honest, I think Martin O'Neill will be silently happy. I know that they've not scored, but they're bossing the game, they're getting good width into their game, they're knocking the ball about well, they're winning the ball back off of Dundee. I think it's a matter of time before Celtic score, to be honest.
And we can't look beyond this, Hugh, because this is a big night and then a big day tomorrow, and we've still got some rescheduled games. We need to find out who is going to be through in the Cup, but it's hard to not get excited about midweek already.
Oh, yeah,
An Edinburgh derby, league leading Hearts welcoming Hibs on Tuesday, so again with the chance to either put points on the board before the other 2 play or show that they've slipped up. And then if you're looking at on paper tough fixtures the next night, Rangers going to Motherwell, Celtic maybe with a so-called easier one at home to Livy. I cannot wait for midweek.
Motherwell's figures at Fir Park are astonishing. The number of clean sheets, the length of time it has been since they lost at Fir Park. They started the season with a 1-1 draw in the Russell Martin days against Rangers. Rangers are far improved since then, but Motherwell are mightily improved since then. That has the look of the game of the season about it.
I'm not excited about that, Hugh, and this is as honest as can be. I am going to Fir Park next Wednesday.
No way.
Yep. I am looking.
That's
so
huge
much.
news.
That is huge. That shows you how good a game this is going to be.
Are you paying?
Absolutely not.
I will only believe this when I have photographic evidence.
You will have photograph. I am going to Fir Park next Wednesday for the game of the century.
The century now, not even game of the season. Good, right, we're looking forward to it. Thank you very much to Hugh Keevins, Roger Hannah, Gordon Dalziel, and to our reporters. There weren't many of them, there weren't many games today, but we did it together. We got through it largely, and thanks to you for keeping us busy with all your messages and your calls, and to those of you who just listen quietly, we always appreciate that as well. It is still goalless between Celtic and Dundee. Whatever happens though, there's a big game tomorrow as well. The guys have you covered from 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and the GBX is up next.
What's on TV? The answer is a lot. There's never been more choice over what to put on the box with an abundance of great new shows, but you can miss them all if you don't know where to look. And that's where the Pilot TV podcast comes in, your essential guide to every show that matters. Each week we sift through the very best in prestige TV to help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what isn't. So join me, James Dyer, as well as venerable TV critics Boyd Hilton and Kay Ribeiro, and let us help take the stress out of your downtime. The Pilot TV podcast, because you can't watch everything.